Scotty Bowman was the coach and general manager of the Buffalo Sabres the last time they played the Central Red Army team. Danny Gare blasted that shot off the right side by the great Vladislav Tretiak to give Buffalo an early 1-0 lead. All night long, the Soviets were thwarted by spectacular goaltending turned in by Don Edwards. But then Buffalo is to take a 2-0 lead on a backhand shot by Don Luce through the pads of Tretiak. And again, Don Edwards came to the front as time after time the Soviets set up in the Buffalo zone. Edwards on a spectacular save there. The Soviets would cut the margin to 2-1, however, on a power play goal. Helmut Valderas, a great goal scorer for the Soviets, sets up to the side of the net. The power play cuts it to 2-1. But then a pass from behind the Soviet goal. Derek Smith alone out in front, and Buffalo led 3-1. The Soviets like to go up the middle. The Sabres figured it out, and this is Danny Gare with his second of the game, and the Sabres led by a score of 4-1. Then some of the greats in Buffalo hockey history, like Gilbert Perreault, takes the pass, puts it out in front to Rick Sealing, and the Sabres had a 5-1 lead. They would hand the Soviet Union their worst loss ever when Rick Sealing is set up by Rick Martin, and Buffalo wins by a score of 6-1. That 6-1 loss by the Central Red Army team was their worst loss ever in North America, right here at Buffalo Memorial Auditorium. The man who coached that Buffalo team joins us tonight on Sports Channel America, Scotty Bowman. Scotty, your memories, your thoughts looking back at 1980.
Well, Vladislav Tretiak, the best goalie in the world at that time, had maybe not one of his career games, and Don Edwards played very well for Buffalo, but we had this rink well in sync, and our wingers, we had a real good game going. Our wingers come in off the boards. You saw the first goal, and Danny Gare come in off the boards, and Rick Sealing and Rick Martin teamed up for a couple of goals. But I think basically we tried not to get caught, and we were in fear of them, in awe of them. And by the time it was over, we were so surprised we won 6-1.
But this is a different Central Red Army team. It's a different Buffalo Sabre hockey club, of course. And the Soviets come in here with a record of 4-1-1. Overall in the series, tonight could be the deciding game if Buffalo beats Central Red Army. Are they capable of that?
They're capable. The rink should help them if they utilize this smaller ice surface. In the neutral zone, there's 6 feet less ice, and I think you're going to find out that they're going to try to clog up the neutral zone and not try to get caught with careless forechecking. Maybe play a more conservative game than they would normally play in the National Hockey League.
Should explain, perhaps, if Buffalo wins, the series would be tied, but the National Hockey League would win on the credit of more goals scored than the Soviets, and that is including the Dinamo Riga series. This Buffalo team, the Soviet, the worst loss ever, right in this building. The Buffalo Sabres don't have a Don Edwards, but they do have a pretty good hockey club right now, yet things in the National Hockey League haven't been too positive recently.
No, they've had a lot of cliff-hanging games, but they're coming off a big win in Toronto. They dominated that game, and I think you'll see them tonight be able to relax a little more. They've been playing under a lot of pressure. They thought they were going to have a better first half, but they didn't. They got a chance to put it all on the line tonight by knocking off the Soviets and really getting a lot of pleasure for the National Hockey League.
Scotty Bowman has coached more games against the Soviets than any other man, and he'll join us, and we look forward to his comments tonight on Sports Channel America. Live from the Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, New York, it's the Superpower Face-Off Series on Sports Channel America. Tonight, the concluding game features the Central Red Army team from the Soviet Union versus the Buffalo Sabres. In this series, the Soviets have been led by Vyacheslav Dekov. 4 goals. That one a shorthanded goal against the New York Islanders. And there is the Sports Channel America Friendship Cup to be presented following the game, either to the National Hockey League or to the Soviet Union. Buffalo is led by Phil Housley and Pierre Turgeon. They set up one another beautifully. Turgeon to Housley, each of them with 18 goals this season. They've been the snipers for the Buffalo Sabres, as tonight they get set to face the Central Red Army team at the Buffalo Memorial Auditorium. We'll be back for the opening face-off right after these messages.
If it's happening, I'm there, okay? Foreign films, answering machine for my car phone, okay? Hey, it's goat cheese or no cheese. My beer, so hip, with a twist.
When you're done kidding around, Heineken.
Check me out. All my plastic, gold. You know, I live in the city, but my clothes say safari. My imported beer, ooh, the bigger the better, mate.
Like we said, when you're done kidding around, Heineken.
It learned to run in the Black Forest of Germany. unlike others, it also learned to be nice to people. Scorpio, the German sedan that's comfortable without forgetting what it learned in the forest. Scorpio, German performance you can be comfortable with.
Now get $2,000 customer cash on 1988 Scorpio from Lincoln Mercury.
The following message is brought to you by Sports Channel America.
Angry ball, they scored! Johnny McClain!
I'm John McClain. As the NHL competes with the Soviets in the NHL Super Series, we're reminded of the earthquake that devastated Soviet Armenia. The American Red Cross International Disaster Relief Fund has a special 800 number you can call. Your contribution goes toward providing relief for the hundreds of thousands left homeless. Please call 1-800-453-9000 or send your contribution to the address on the screen. Thank you.
The National Hockey League is speed, action, and excitement. And you've got a front row seat to this next exciting matchup. Saturday, slick skating Dennis Savard in Chicago take aim on Pat LaFontaine and the Islanders. Then, Wayne Gretzky and the Kings battle Kevin Dineen and the Whalers. It's Chicago versus New York and Hartford versus Los Angeles. Beginning at 7 Eastern, 6 Central on Sports Channel America. Saturday.
Welcome to Sports Nightly Studios. I'm Lee Zeidman, along with our expert analyst, Michael Ruzioni. We'll be here between periods to keep you updated on all the NHL action.
And I'll have insights on the Soviet style of play and the value of experience the Soviets get from playing in the National Hockey League.
Tonight's game winner will decide the winner of Sports Channel America's Friendship Cup, awarded to the series champion. Right now, the Soviets lead this series. But in the event of a tie, we're going to go to goals scored in the series to determine a champion. Right now, the National Hockey League leads the Soviets by 3 goals. So if we see a tie tonight, the NHL would be declared the winner of the series by virtue of goals for. So the stage is set for tonight's series finale in the Superpower Face-Off. Let's go back to the Autumn Buffalo. Jiggs McDonald and Scotty Bowman standing by for face-off. Gentlemen?
All right, Lee, the two teams have yet to make an appearance on the ice here at Buffalo. The officials tonight will be Bill McCreary with Leon Stickle and Ron Finn. Just to go back to something that Lee said a moment ago, if the game does indeed end up in a tie, then the Sports Channel America Friendship Cup will go to the Soviet Union. They come into the game with a record of 6-5-1. A tie would make it 6-5-2, and the goal differential would be thrown out the window. The smaller ice surface, Scotty Bowman has already made reference to the fact that there's a short area in the center ice zone, but I think back, Scotty, to February of 1988. The Soviets played their first 3 games in the Winter Olympic Games at the Saddle Dome. No, excuse me, not the Saddle Dome, at the Stampede Corral. And that's even smaller than this surface in Buffalo. They do make adjustments. We used to think that they couldn't do it, but now they can.
Their defensemen are so good at getting in, it'll be a lot easier for them to get those good shots. So that's something the Sabres were concerned about, handling their defensemen in the offensive zone, in the Buffalo defensive zone.
Now the introductions are about to be made. The two teams will be on the ice momentarily. Good crowd on hand for the concluding game of the Superpower Series between the National Hockey League and the 2 touring teams from the Soviet Union. Now let's meet the starting lineup.
At left wing, wearing number 22, Sergei Nemchinov. At center, wearing number 8, Igor Larionov. At right wing, wearing number 24, Sergei Makarov. On defense, wearing number 2, Vyacheslav Fetisov. Also on defense, number 3, Sergei Starikov. And starting in goal, number 30, Sergei Goloshma. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineup for tonight's edition of the Buffalo Sabres. The head coach of the Soviet Red Army team, Viktor Tikhonov. For the Buffalo Sabres, at left wing, wearing number 9, Scott Arneal. At center, wearing number 21, Christian Rutu. At right wing, wearing number 12, Rick Vibe. On defense, wearing number 5, Mike Ramsey. Also on defense, number 3, Kelly Johansson. And starting at goal, number 1, Jacques Cloutier. Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Buffalo Sabres, Ted Sater. And please welcome the rest of the Buffalo Sabres. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce the Sabres Chairman of the Board and President, Seymour H. Knox III.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that we welcome to Buffalo War Memorial Auditorium the following: the players, coaches, and staff of the Soviet Red Army. Secondly, the officials and representatives of the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association. Thirdly, we welcome the sports fans viewing this game across the country on Sports Channel America. And finally, you, the great hockey fans of Western New York and Southern Ontario. Thank you for joining us here tonight. The Sabres have always been a strong proponent of international hockey. This is the 4th meeting between the Buffalo Sabres and a team from the Soviet Union here in Memorial Auditorium since 1976. In the custom of sportsmanship and in the interest of international harmony, we now ask the captains of the two teams, Sergei Makarov of the Soviet Red Army and Lindy Ruff of the Buffalo Sabres, to come forward to center ice for an exchange of gifts.
Please stand, ladies and gentlemen, for the Soviet, Canadian, and U.S. anthems, as sung by Sue Britton, accompanied by organist Joe Mankowski.
rendition of both the Soviet, Canadian, and American national anthems. You see the officials skating into your screen. That is referee Bill McCreary. He'll be joined tonight by Leon Stickle and Ron Finn to work the lines in the finale, the game between the Central Red Army team and the Buffalo Sabres. Sergei Galashimov in goal for the Soviets. This will be his third appearance. He's played 80 minutes. Record of a win and no losses. Has allowed only 4 goals against. That works out to about a 3.00 goals against average. The early indications were when the Soviets arrived that he was strictly here as a backup in case something happened to Milnikov. Well, something did happen in Pittsburgh. The Penguins beat him, and Galashimov has been able to get a start since then. And at the other end of the ice, it'll be Jacques Cloutier. Scotty, you know all about Jacques Cloutier, and he's faced these Soviets before.
He's come in and done a fine job for the Sabres. He's been a mop-up goalie. They put him in against Toronto, though, and had a big game the other night with Darren Pupa having the big load now that Tom Barras is in Pittsburgh.
Cloutier has played in only 9 games this season, has a 3.20 goals against average. The Sabres will defend the goal to the right. Central Red Army, the goal to the left. As we get ready for the opening face-off. Should mention that the Soviets will not go home immediately. I think if I were touring, I probably wouldn't want to go home immediately either. But they're going to go to New York City for a couple of days and will not leave until Thursday evening to return to Moscow. You know that the shopping is primary for the next couple of days once this game is finished. What they're shopping for tonight is the Sports Channel America Friendship Cup. They have a leg up, 6-5-1 in the series, but have been outscored 40 goals to 38 by the NHL. There is Victor Tikhonov, head coach not only of Central Red Army, but of the national team when they put them together for the World Tournaments and, of course, the Olympic Games. And to his left, right in the corner of your picture, Boris Mikhailov, one of the great goal scorers. I've referred to him as the Soviet Union's Mr. Hockey. He's like Gordie Howe.
Played with a great line of Petrov, Mikhailov, and the late Valery Harmolov. It was a great line for the Soviet Union.
Was it ever? The Soviets in red put the puck in the Buffalo zone. Sabres move it out to Scott Arniel, now to 5. Trying to play it in around Starikov. The puck knocked away from him. Rutu gets it, and his backhander went wide. Scott Arniel picks it up over at right wing. Was met by Fetisov. Starikov, the other defenseman on this combination. Now that shot right on. Galashimov, great save. As Rutu went for the rebound, it was knocked away. Makarov plays it up the left side. Fetisov pulling it back from Rick Vine. Fetisov's pass to Larionov. Larionov, who has not scored a goal in the series, played it to the right side to Starikov. Cross-ice pass is tipped. That goes over the glass up into the seats off Larionov's stick.
What they like to do, though, you notice that they retreat. If they can't get straight ahead, they go back. Generally, what they do is they'll throw it back, but on the other side, somebody will be taking off and anticipating the play. So they like to keep moving, Jigs, and we saw it there. They really didn't get that pass they wanted, but they put the soccer elements into hockey.
Very good analogy. Yeah, the soccer elements, if you got nowhere to go, and then they move it so quick as well. Now on this face-off, the Soviets controlling it back at their own end. Kasatonov, normally Fetisov's partner, but not this season, moved it up to Homatov, who dumps it in. And Yensky went in after it. It's played up the boards by the Sabres. Donnelly gets to it. Turgeon open on left side. He went to the right wing to Foligno. Back to Donnelly for a backhander. Around the boards to Turgeon. Turgeon trying to center, who's knocked away from him. Kasatonov for Central Red Army. To Homatov on right wing. Andrei Homatov, stick handling into the Islanders' zone. Centered one, that's cleared by Podger. Podger bumping with Bikov. And now Kamensky takes him into the boards as the puck goes to center ice. Bikov back in over the line. Vyacheslav Bikov drops it to the point. Kucherov shot is handled routinely. Luce banks it off the boards into the center ice zone. Back in defense is Kasatonov here. Teammates in the middle of the player change as he dumps it in. Yensky in after, got knocked down, and there's Parker playing it to the point, but not out. Kucherov center quad tipped in front and ends up back of the net. Buffalo Sabres trying to move out of their own zone, and Yensky ran into Housley, knocking him down. Now Bodger plays the puck up the right wing board. Over to check for the Soviet Union, Diakin. Meantime, the puck goes right to Galashimov, and he decides it's time to get a whistle, Scotty.
Yes, and we saw initially the good rush the Sabres had. Who was joining it? Number 6, Phil Housley, leads the NHL with 18 goals as a defenseman in just 42 games. So Housley has really put it together this year, has become a dominant force offensively, tied with Pierre Turgeon. So the Soviets will be well advised to watch number 6 because he'll join every rush he can.
Now you look at number 33, Benoit Hogue, moving in for the faceoff. Hogue has Rupp on one side, and over on the other, Jeff Parker. Puck comes back toward the point, kicked in along the boards by Kelly Johansson. Now the Central Red Army team comes out to center. The fans react to that hard hit on Telepukin. Davidoff checked over on the far side. The pass up the boards to Hogue, comes over the line for a shot. Galachimov the save. The rebound is shot wide. Parker had the top of the net and missed it. Now Lindy Rupp is checked by Chernik. Puts the puck behind the goal for Malakoff. Out to Telepukin at center ice. Telepukin with Davidoff moving in. Telepukin on the backhand. Got it wide, and Parker goes back. Telepukin is slow to get back to his skates. Meantime, the Sabres starting out of their own zone. There is no score. We played 3 minutes of the opening period here in Buffalo. Fetisov let it go back to the net. Starikov moved it up to Davidoff, down to Fetisov. Good pass on the left side. Kozhnikov with a shot that takes off on a deflection and ends up in the seats. You're watching the Soviet NHL Superpower Series on Sports Channel.
Hello, baby. Here, help. Isn't this romantic?
Jakes McDonald with Scotty Bowman at War Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo. There is no score. Getting ready for a face-off on the edge of the circle nearest the blue line and to the right of Jacques Cloutier. Recently won the face-off for Buffalo, and it's played along the boards away from Fetisov. There'll be no icing. We watch Starikov go back for it. Played it up this right side. Kozhnikov takes it back of the net, giving it to Fetisov. Fetisov, the pass up the middle, and the Sabres knew exactly what to expect. Broke it up.
Kasatonov usually the partner of Fetisov, but now it's Starikov. I don't know if they're getting ready to let Fetisov go.
They may well be. Wouldn't that be something if he were to join the New Jersey Devils for the playoff run that is underway in the National Hockey League? Kozhnikov with a cross-ice pass, broken up neatly by Housley. And man open on the left wing, and Housley very alertly blocked the pass. Now gives the puck to Bodger. Dumps it in between the defense. Playing back for the Soviet Union, Kasatonov. Played it up the board. Rutu got a stick on it, then steered aside by Galachimov. In forechecking is Housley. Had it momentarily. Now goes off Shepard. And the Soviets take over again. Yusarov back to the net. Kasatonov waiting here on the right side. Yusarov crossed right in front of his own net. Dangerous play.
Not much room to move around behind that net in this rink. Usually you get an international hockey 13 feet. It's only 10 in the NHL.
Now Makarov brings it in on the left side. Centered one, but behind his teammate, Yemchev, and it's Arneal coming down the left side. Got Arneal, put it over Rutu's stick. McFly went in after it, got checked on the play. Yemchev over on the left wing. His pass deflected. And Bodger, covering up, shoots it right back into the Soviet zone. Alexei Gusarov went back to the net. Larry Arnoff, number 8. Larry Arnoff played it up the left side. Gusarov, the defenseman, rushes it into the Buffalo zone on the backhand. It's in deep. Takes for the corner by Playfair, then centered to Kamensky. To Larry Kamensky. Now the Makarov shot. That's deflected and went wide. Dikov and Kamensky along with Makarov, the forward line for the Soviets. 15 of these players participated in the Winter Olympic Games, winning the gold medal when undefeated at Calgary last February. They have lost one game in the series. Here's Kamensky breaking in. What a save by Cloutier, reaching out to knock it off his stick. Good scoring opportunity denied for the Soviet Union. They tighten up again. Biakin with a pass. Anderson took Kamensky down. Bikov with a shot. Luce the save, and he covers the puck. 14 minutes, 8 seconds remaining in the opening period. There is no score. You're watching the NHL Soviet Union Superpower Series on Sports Channel.
The National Hockey League is speed, action, and excitement. And you've got a front row seat to this next exciting matchup. Saturday afternoon in a Patrick Division matchup, the battle for the top spot continues. The magnificent Mario Lemieux and the Penguins collide with the Rangers and rookie hotshot Tony Granato. It's the New York Rangers versus Pittsburgh. Live at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central on Sports Channel America, Saturday.
Valery Kamensky shows the speed now. He gets a real good scoring chance and a good save by Cloutier. And Kamensky caught my eye in that rendezvous series. Hasn't lived up, though, to his expectations.
No, so often they said that he saved his best games for North America. In a pretty good series in winning the gold medal. He hasn't been quite as spectacular in this tour. They have so many young players coming. It must make National Hockey League general managers and coaches drool a little bit. Well, Gildy, who was a star in the World Junior Tournament, plays regularly for Central Red Army, is not with the team right now. Polino centering one from behind the Central Red Army goal. The puck comes back into the Buffalo territory. Slapped out of there into the center ice zone by Sean Anderson. The Soviets get over the line. Bikov to Kamensky. What a stop. Zelopilkin pokes at the rebound. Luce blocked it right at the goal line. Polino jostling, and we get our first little bit of a tussle in this series as they go back to that Buffalo net.
They don't fool around, though. They get that pass across, Jigs. He was just trying to fire it right by Cloutier, but like you mentioned, the anticipation of Cloutier made the save. He was with it all the way because it was a quick pass across, and he one-timed it right away, and the speed of that pass and the way they can convert it made a real good scoring chance. And this is, I think it's Bikov. He comes in here. Now watch this. He gets up again, and he sort of keeps the puck and still on his knees. Here's the pass across and the quick one-timer, but look at Cloutier's left pad makes the save.
Great stop. Zelopilkin went right back after the rebound. Could not jam it between the pads of Jacques Cloutier. We mentioned at the outset, Cloutier has not played very many games this season, but he has made some big stops. Each team with 3 shots on goal officially, and no score. We have played 7 minutes of this opening period at Buffalo. Soviet setting up at center ice. Starikov having given it to Fetisov and drop it back. This is what Scotty was pointing out. Nowhere to go with it. They just go back, go back.
They'll want to make it go on the other side, but the guy was standing still. But see how they get them in motion.
Now Chernik plays the puck out to Fetisov. Coming off his stick. Davidov is there and dumps it in. It'll be picked up by Housley, and that's going to be, well, the whistle is for a slash. Referee Bill McCreary indicating a penalty call. So the first power play opportunity of the evening will go to the Soviet Union. Would you like to see the Stanley Cup champion play a European champion to determine a world championship? That's our question of the night for our Sports Channel America fans. There is a 75-cent per call charge. If you say yes, you'd like to see the NHL and the Europeans decide a world championship, dial 1-900-300-6311. If you're opposed, 1-900-300-6312. Scotty, here's the 75 cents. Who are you going to call? Yes or no?
You're right, but we should mention this Central Red Army team is a team in the regular schedule, but if there's a good young player in the Soviet Union, he ends up on this team. So it is sort of an all-star team, although they play in the regular league as a team. So you have to remember that they will group their best players onto that one team.
Yeah, they've picked up a couple of players from other teams, put them on Central Red Army. The Dynamo Riga team had a line as well, a line that played in the Olympics. Now Fetisov for the shot, changed direction, went up into the seats. The penalty call, by the way, was rough for slashing at the 7:13 mark.
Saw the reaction, though, of Fetisov. He must have been talking to himself, because that's something we didn't see a half a dozen years ago. Get the puck on the point, tee it up in the long wind-up in the slap shot, and the saver, I think, was Scott Arneal, deflected in the crowd.
Is he practicing for the Devils? I'm sure the people with New Jersey would like to have him just as quickly as they can get him. Speculation is that the day isn't that far away. Starikov from the left side. Fetisov on the right as they put the puck deeper in the Buffalo zone. Makarov with it now. Back it goes to Fetisov, to Makarov. Finds some room at the side of the net. Larionov centers, they score! Igor Larionov setting up the play, and the power play works for the Soviets as Niemchev, added to this line, gets the power play goal.
But it was textbook passing, and one thing with the Soviets, they had the other defenseman who was bothering Klutsia. He comes in on the other side, and there's Fetisov. He's not going to make a mistake. He passes it to Makarov, and watch Larionov right in front of the net now. He'll just redirect this one, and you see the other defenseman just on the left-hand side nearly came in, and he had 2 selections to pass that puck, yet he put it right where he wanted in the goal crease, deflected in.
Igor Larionov and number 24, Sergei Makarov. From Larionov.
Well, there's the scoring on the goal for the Soviets. Niemchev getting his 2nd goal in this series. Larionov and Makarov assisting. At 7:43, it is a power play goal for the Soviets. Aims at 6 aside as Housley took Rogers' pass. Comes over the Soviet line, gave it to Donnelly, his shot. Galashima hugging the right post, makes the save.
Got the defense backing in a little bit. Housley jumping up and going up like a forward. And what they do now, the Sabres, they've got it pretty well down pat. That winger will come back and take Housley's position. Watch Housley. He'll jump up here right now, move into the middle. The other guy will go back and play defense with him. And it actually was a good pass to Donnelly. This is a shot from the top of the circle, but a little high right at the goaltender.
Foligno wins the draw. The puck goes back to Bodger for a shot. Galashimov to save. The rebound has got it in. Mike Foligno.
Right off the face-off. The pass came across to Bodger. He let it go. Galashimov could not handle it. He thought he had it in his glove. The puck was on the ice. And Foligno went in and put that rebound in. But a shot here from Bodger. He let it go right off the face-off. Now he can't handle it. Watch Foligno just come in and just sort of tap it and actually hit it out of the air. And this game is tied on a good shot by Bodger, a good goal by Foligno.
Mike Foligno has scored some big goals for the Buffalo Sabres. He's even jumped higher than he did in the reaction to that goal, but it has tied up this game at 1-1. Foligno has 10 regular season goals, and that's one at 8:08. You hear the reaction from the crowd as the announcement is made. Nershon will get an assist. Bodger as well. The Soviets right back into the Buffalo territory. Kamensky trying to dig it off the end board. Centered one back. Peacock put it behind the net. Homatov trying to put it out in front. Homatov got turned around by the defensive work of Playfair. Pushes at Homatov. The puck in the meantime on the right wing for Shepard. Out through center. Priestley plays it back the other direction. The play broken up, and here's Kamensky down that wing. He is one of only 3 right-hand shots as he gave the puck to Peacock. He centered it. Nobody there for the Soviets. Held in at the line by Starikov. Peacock went back to the blue line, then turned it over. A rare move. Johansson moves it into center ice. Shepard across the line. Shepard put it off to the goaltender's right side. It comes back. Held in by the Sabres. Shepard from back of the net. Trying to stuff one in. Got another opportunity, and the Sabres with a second chance. Galashimov diving around in front of the net. Buffalo scores!
A lot of action around the goal. Galashimov left his feet about 5 seconds before the Sabres. Shepard had a pretty good chance. Hope put it in, but all kinds of good shots here. Scott Metcalf gets a good shot on a turnaround, and finally the goaltender makes a save. But you see he goes down, and the puck comes around in front here. Watch the goalie now. He goes down. Shepard tried to jam it from the back, but Metcalf does a turnaround. He makes this save and doesn't get up. He gets down, and finally Hogue will come in. He's down. He slides it. That puck just trickles in.
Benoit Hogue for Buffalo. 9 minutes and 30 seconds into the opening period. And the Sabres lead 2-1. Hogue had 9 goals in the NHL, and now has given Buffalo the 2-1 lead. Zelepukin centering the puck to Chernik as the Soviets move in. What a job by Ramsey all over Chernik. Soviet Union able to recover the puck. Davidoff put it in the corner. Sabres trying to move it out. It's picked off by Zelapukin, who shot it wide. Davidoff crossing in front of the net at the time. Now Chernik goes to center one. Ramsey trying to hand pass it. It comes back to Starikov. Knocked away. Good heads-up move by the Sabres' Jeff Parker. Now Parker slaps it into the Soviet zone. Both teams in the middle of player changes. And we watch the Soviets trying to move out. It's Fetisov. His pass into the skates of 5. Rutu for Buffalo. Plays it back. Taylor Housley's pass was tipped to Bodger. Now to Scott Arneal. He's checked outside the line. Yemchev moving up. Puck knocked away from him. Kucherov got it to Larry Ernoff. Wing to the boards. The Soviets. Kucherov goes to Makarov. Put it in front. Bodger is there. Housley gets bucked. 5 is knocked down. Arneal picks up the puck for Buffalo. Across to Housley. He was onside but could not control it. Now 5 gets to it. Rick 5 kicks it in along the boards. Arneal puts the body into Kucherov. Fired it right across the front of the net. Makarov tips the puck to center. Bodger puts it right back in. There's a delayed penalty call against the Soviet Union. Larry Ernoff is going off for the Soviets. Pause now for a regional break. You're watching the Superpower Face-Off Series on Sports Channel America.
Including Macho Man Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, and Ted DiBiase, all live for the Summit in Houston, Sunday afternoon, January 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on pay-per-view. Don't get shut out. Order now. Contact your local cable system for complete details.
This is the turnaround shot by Scott Metcalf, and Shepard actually tries to get a hold of the puck, but finally, you see there's Shepard poking away and poking away. The goalie's down before the shot is even taken. Finally, look at the strength of Hogue, surprisingly enough, is able to get that puck. Starikov can't get him, and there's a look at the goaltender, Galashimov. He just can't believe it went in.
That's one of the things that have changed over the years, too, the reactions. The players now, we used to think there were robots. There was never any reaction or indication of excitement or disappointment. We saw Larry Ernoff in the penalty box. Interference is the call at 11:10. So the Sabres with the power play for the first time. Their power play is ranked 12th in the NHL, but that, of course, has no bearing on this game. As we watch the Indochine move in, the Soviets are famous for shorthanded goals. They'll drive a team crazy. The forechecking of Makarov plays it across to the right side, and there's Shepard back for Buffalo. Ray Shepard played it to the corner. Johansson setting up back of the net. Shepard and Turgeon both went to the far side. The pass instead to Anderson. Sean Anderson plays it up into the Soviet zone. And that's going to be called back. Anderson put it in from his own side of the center ice stripe.
Goalie read it well, did not play it, and Anderson was about 2 feet from center ice. Turgeon's been a big power play hockey player for the Sabres. Half of his 18 goals have come in the power play. And surprising statistic, Phil Housley, only 3 goals on the power play of his 18. Rick 5 coming over from Chicago has already had 2, which gives him 9 of his 12 on the power play. So Sabres have got a potential for a good power play with 5 coming over from Chicago. He likes to stay in front of the net and get that little tip in and rebound.
He is one guy who will sacrifice, take all the punishment that any team wants to lay out. Turgeon on this face-off. 5 is the other forward on the right side, and Rutu is on the left as we watch Housley rushing the puck in. They got checked. Bikoff is knocked down. Turgeon trying to set it up. It's knocked off his stick by Homaton. Now 5 back to the net. Runs into a check thrown by Malakoff. Watcher knocks it out of the air at the blue line, plays it into 5, and he just could not get a stick on it. Malakoff and 5 go to the corner. The puck comes back to Housley. Across to Bodger. And along the boards to Rutu. 5 parked on one side of the net, Turgeon on the other. This is 5 out in front. He scores! For Rick 5, he has been a big plus to Buffalo since that deal with Chicago and has made it 3-1.
Well, you see here, it actually didn't get out. Bodger makes a good play, and 5 ends up going back on the goal line. We'll see it here. Housley keeps this with him. Watch 5. The other defenseman will come up on the line, and he leaves 5. Finally, Rutu holds the puck, gives it to Vide, and Vide comes right out and puts it right in the top corner, right over the goalie. A great goal, 3-1 Buffalo.
And now the Soviets into the Buffalo zone. Moving in here on the right side. Chicken centers it across. It's intercepted. And brought out by Jeff Parker. Parker over the Soviet line. Puck knocked away from him. Konstantinov picks it up, and the whistle is sounded on an offside. So Rick Vide on a power play goal at 12:34 has taken Buffalo to a 3-1 lead. Big goal at the stage. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching the Superpower Face-Off Series on Sports Channel America.
Up. Way up. That's what's been happening to cable viewership. At the same time, guess what's happened to network viewership? And the majority of those lost network ratings have gone directly to cable. Over 120 million viewers have found cable, and there's a simple way for advertisers to find them. Plug into the power of cable. America is cable ready.
Back here at Buffalo, the play just underway. I'm Jakes McDonald with Scotty Bowman. Buffalo leads 3-1. They've outshot the Soviets 11-4. And throughout most of this tour by the Soviet teams, they have been the ones with the majority of the shots on goal. There's Fetisov. His shot deflected off the handle of the stick, comes out in front, shot wide. Davidoff with a great chance, missed the net. Now Zelepukin comes out of the corner. Housley knocked it off the stick. Davidoff from back of the net, fired it across the front. Satonov held it in for Zelepukin. Housley all over him. Plays a little more physical now. Housley knocks Zelepukin down. Davidoff puts it in the corner. Kluche comes out of the net to move it up the boards to Shepard. He dumps it to center. The crowd reacting. It's been good action. Call it an exhibition, if you will, or a goodwill tour, whatever, but they've come to play tonight. Bodger takes it away from Davidoff. Moves it up the boards. It's intercepted, however. Larry Arnoff gets knocked down, and there'll be a penalty for holding on Priestley. 5.5 minutes to play in the opening period. Buffalo up 3-1. You're watching the Superpower Series on Sports Channel.
If it's happening, I'm there, okay? Foreign films, answering machine for my car phone, okay? Hey, it's goat cheese or no cheese. My beer, so hip, with a twist.
When you're done kidding around, Heineken.
Check me out. All my plastic, gold. You know, I live in the city, but my clothes say safari. My imported beer, the bigger the better, mate.
Like we said, when you're done kidding around, Heineken.
Good chance for the Soviets. Watch this drop pass. Fetisov lets it go. I think it's Bikov that just about tips it. There's the tip right there over the top of the net. A real good scoring chance, and they came back and really jammed the net. But this was a good play by Housley to get back and knock the puck. I think it was off of Davidoff's stick.
But now Priestley has gone to the penalty box for holding. The Soviets took a 1-0 lead earlier in the period on a power play goal by Niemchinov. Kucherov plays it deep into the Buffalo zone. Eli Johansson rings it around the boards off Rutu's stick. Satonov back on the Soviet defense. Takes the pass here on the right side. Larry Arnoff moves up the middle of the ice. Now peels to the left wing to take the pass. Comes over the line, but it's offside. Very unusual. Very, very seldom do you see the Central Red Army team go offside, but especially on a power play.
Niemchinov replacing the great Krutov, who was injured in the Pittsburgh game, did not play against Hartford. And generally the Soviets do not juggle players on a power play. They'll go with a set line and the defense partner. And that's why their defensemen are so good offensively. They don't have any defenseman that really can't handle the puck.
And a quick look at the bench as Viktor Tikhonov takes Kucherov off the ice. Makarov is out there. Fetisov and Starikov are now the defense combination. You must be tuned into you, Scotty. Niemchinov with the puck at center ice. Pulling to the left side. He's knocked off his stick. He plays it toward the corner finally. Nancy moved it up, and Rutu dumps it down into the Soviet zone. Lachimov steered it off to the right side for Fetisov. Over the line with the pass down Makarov. Makarov centers. Kenyevsky chased to the corner. Puts one back to the net. It bounced away from Larry Erloff. Larry Erloff gets it again. Is taken off the puck, however. And it's played up the boards and on into the center ice area. Right to Galashimov and back in. A short-handed goal. Lindy Ruff goes right to the net. The puck bounces off of him by Galashimov, and it's 4-1.
What a careless play, though, by the goaltender. I often wonder if they make goaltending changes, but this is an amazing goal, a short-handed goal for Lindy Ruff. There's the puck trickling down, and Fetisov's the defenseman trying to get back, and finally the goalie plays it and hits Ruff and goes in and makes it 4-1. So the Sabres have really come alive here. They scored 3 goals in 4 minutes, and here's another angle on it. Fetisov sort of nonchalant a little bit, but the goaltender making a dreadful play to put the Sabres up by 3.
Galashimov is from Spartak Moscow. He does not normally play for the Central Red Army team. It's his 6th season in the Elite League. He did play in the 1983 World Champion Junior team from the Soviet Union. Was highly respected at that time, but has given up 4 first-period goals. Makes a stick save there, but the whistle had sounded. Ruff's goal is scored at 15:46. There is still 24 seconds remaining on the clock here. The penalty call against Priestley.
I think it was important, though, Buffalo, after the classic goal the Soviet Union scored to make it 1-0, they came back in a little less than 25 seconds on the Foligno goal, and then they scored a minute and a half later. A young team acquired a lot of confidence in that 2-minute span.
Live on a power play, Ruff on a short-handed goal. The Sabres up 4-1. Homatov bringing the puck up the middle of the ice. Andrei Homatov dumps it in wide. Luce puts it in the corner. Turgeon got tied up with the play. Now they move it back. Kasatonov shot is blocked by Pierre Turgeon and went right through the skates of Beekhoff here on the right side. Watcher bumps him. The puck goes back to the net for Homatov. Out to Beekhoff. And it's stolen and brought out by Priestley. And Priestley down the left side. Leonard put across just out of the reach of Foligno. Back comes Housley for Buffalo. Bill Housley across the Soviet line. Not pick up the puck again, however. Kasatonov plays it to the left side. It's loose in the Buffalo zone. Homatov picked it up and shot it, but now the whistle sounds. They're ruling the puck was knocked down with a stick raised over the shoulder level. 3 minutes remaining in the opening period. Buffalo leading 4-1. You're watching the Superpower Series on Sports Channel.
It learned to run in the Black Forest of Germany. But unlike others, it also learned to be nice to people. Scorpio, the German sedan that's comfortable without forgetting what it learned in the forest. Scorpio, German performance you can be comfortable with.
Now get $2,000 customer cash on 1988 Scorpio from Lincoln Mercury.
Buffalo has moved right into the Soviet zone following the face-off. Now the puck cleared out by Biakin. Larry Playfair back. And it was turned over and off Luce and just wide of the net. Chavira out for his first shift, I believe, got that shot away. And the Soviets are now forced back into their own zone. Konstantinov played it up the left wing. Now back to Malakoff in this left wing corner. Vladimir Malakoff over Len Koschekin on the left side. Mike Ramsey just sort of carelessly turned the puck over on the far side of the ice and was tipped up into the crowd.
Really have to watch those turnovers. That was one that shouldn't have really occurred. But we saw the speed of Chibirnev as he got by Housley and got a good shot away that just trickled by the goaltender. And boy, it's amazing. There's, this turnover. There's Housley. He can't handle it. Finally, the puck trickles by Cloutier, but just goes by the post about 6 inches.
Close call. 12-6 are shots on goal. Buffalo leading in that department as well. Certainly, Victor Tikhonov has to be thinking back to that night. And Scotty Bowman's coaching took the Sabres to a 6-1 win. That shot hit Ramsey. Now loose in front, they score. Koenig moving in, and it's 4-2. Ramsey shaken up after the shot had hit him. The puck came loose, and the Soviets seized the opportunity.
Talk about the turnovers about 10 seconds ago, and you saw that shot as Ramsey getting a little careless, but boy, the Soviets struck fast here. The puck seemed to have eyes, and I think you'll watch it come by here. They should have had it out. Arneal's against the boards. Ramsey goes down possibly to handle it. He doesn't. And here it comes right here, boy, right in the top corner. What a shot.
Alexander Chernik gets the goal at 18:06. It's 4-2. Buffalo leading the Central Red Army team. Batissa from back of his goal starts out. Long shot, bad save by Cloutier, and Ramsey moves it up the boards.
You know, they once had a game here in the 70s, 12-6 Buffalo against a Soviet Wings team, so we're right on target. 6 goals in 1 period.
Well, we're headed in that direction, all right. Minute and a half remaining in the first period of the final game in this tour. Bill Housley moves the puck out to Pierre Turgeon. Dumps it into the Soviet zone. Kasatonov with it now. Alexei Kasatonov to Davidoff, who went off his stick to Batissa. Back to Davidoff. Shoots one from the line. A weak shot. Luce puts it in the corner. There's Foligno. Now to Housley. Here's Donnelly with that pass. The Imshov, who has just come out on a player change, moved it up. Here's Makarov over the line. Makarov, look at the puck handling demonstration of Makarov.
Soviets were fortunate, though. NHL rules. That should have been a penalty. Too many men on the ice. Fetisov was lazy getting to the bench.
Now the Soviets move out of their own zone. Makarov down the right side, or Nemchov rather. His pass to Makarov went behind him. Nemchov with it again. Bumped in the corner. The Soviets get the puck again. Makarov backhanded one. It's banged in. Tipped off the stick of Kasatonov, I believe, who was crossing through in front. And all of a sudden, it's only a 1-goal lead for the Buffalo Sabres.
The Imchinov in the corner showed great strength, but a great play by Makarov as he waited and waited. And this is the thing we talked about, defenseman moving in. Number 6, Kasatonov, comes right in here. He doesn't stop it. He can't. He just deflects it right by the surprise Cloutier. And two, actually, Niemchov was going to the front as well. But what a play by Makarov to really find that loose defenseman. That's what we talked about, Jay. You can't handle those defensemen that come in. You know, in the last minute of play, he's 10 feet from the goal.
Unbelievable. Buffalo had a 4-1 lead on goals by Foligno, Holm, 5, and Ruff. And now the puck shot in on an offside. 21 seconds left in the period. Alexei Kasatonov gets the goal. Makarov will get 1 assist. And the man that Scotty talked about, who made it all possible, Nemchinov, gets the other.
There are some pluses about a small rink as well, Jigs. You see that Soviet offense, they can get closer to the net on quick plays, so they seem to have adjusted to this building in the last 5 minutes.
Certainly adjusted to something. Maybe they thought it was an 8 o'clock game. Here they come, 2-on-1 with 8 seconds left. Look out, the pass to Larionov, tipped neatly in front of the net. Good play by Doug Bodger. Or the Soviets were home free. The horn sounds, ending a wide-open first period of hockey. Kalashimov headed for the dressing room. He appeared to be in trouble. He was down 4-1, then all of a sudden his teammates pick up the pace. And the Buffalo Sabres were reeling as the period came to a close. We talked about the shots on goal earlier. Well, the period ends with only a 2-shot difference. Buffalo having outshot the Soviets 12-10.
Does it look, Jigs, that the defense of either club can handle the attack? There's been so many good scoring chances. I thought the Soviet goalie mishandled a couple, otherwise they'd be ahead. But the Sabres got that confidence when they tied the game up and scored those 2 goals in about a minute and a half. A young team, but boy, those last 2 might just put them right back where they started.
Buffalo outshoots the Soviets 12-10 in the first period. Central Red Army took the lead on a power play. Nemchinov getting his 2nd goal in this tournament from Larionov and Makarov at 7:43. But then it was all Buffalo. Foligno from Turgeon and Bodger at 8:08. Hogue from Metcalf and Shepard at 9:30. A power play goal by Rick Vibe with Rutu assisting at 12:34. And then a shorthanded goal by Lindy Ruff set up by Ray Shepard at 15:46. And Buffalo led 4-1. But then Chernik scores at 18:06 and Kasatonov at 19:34. And at the end of 1 period, it is the Buffalo Sabres 4, the Central Red Army team 3 in a wide-open first period of hockey at Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo. Now let's return to our Sports Channel studios, and we'll check in with Lee Zeidman.
Thanks, Jigs. Coming up between periods, we'll update all the NHL action. The Rangers battling New Jersey and Montreal's at Detroit.
I'm Mike Ruzioni. I'll show you how NHL teams are trying to stop the Soviets' high-powered attack.
Scores, highlights, and commentary. Sports Nightly between periods after an interview with Alan Eagleson. Stay with us.
Including Macho Man Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, and Ted DiBiase, all live for the Summit in Houston, Sunday afternoon, January 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on pay-per-view. Don't get shut out. Order now. Contact your local cable system for complete details.
The National Hockey League is speed, action, and excitement. And you've got a front row seat to this next exciting matchup. Saturday, slick skating Dennis Savard in Chicago take aim on Pat LaFontaine and the Islanders. Then, Wayne Gretzky and the Kings battle Kevin Dineen and the Whalers. It's Chicago versus New York and Hartford versus Los Angeles. Beginning at 7 Eastern, 6 Central on Sports Channel America. Saturday.
One of the sweetest memories I have is of going to the movies with you, Dad.
Oh, those were the days.
Ah, they were classics. Hollywood classics.
Hollywood casts?
They're still around. Where? Cable TV.
Cable TV?
American movie classics.
Just movies?
Great movies.
Movies like they used to be.
Classics.
American movie classics. Movies that last a lifetime. Call your cable company today.
The following message is brought to you by Sports Channel America.
I'm John McClain. As the NHL competes with the Soviets in the NHL Super Series, we're reminded of the earthquake that devastated Soviet Armenia. The American Red Cross International Disaster Relief Fund has a special 800 number you can call. Your contribution goes toward providing relief for the hundreds of thousands left homeless. Please call 1-800-453-9000 or send your contribution to the address on the screen. Thank you.
Welcome back to Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, where the Sabres lead the Central Red Army by a score of 4-3. I'm Jinx McDonald with Scotty Bowman. Happy to have with us tonight Gary Thorne, who has joined our broadcast team. He's down in the studio with the man responsible for putting this whole thing together. Will there be more, Gary?
Yeah, I guess so. Thank you, Jigsy. This is Alan Eagleson, who is the executive director of the Players Association in the National Hockey League. And some things we'd like to get straight from the horse's mouth, if you will, here. Alan, first of all, you've been to the Soviet Union a number of times as to the future of the series of the National Hockey League in the Soviet Union. Where's it going from here?
We've created pretty well a 5-year program, and this is really the first year of that 5 years. Next year, we expect that all 21 teams in the NHL will play a game, including Mr. Ballard and with the Soviets. The interesting thing we're doing next September of '89, is taking 2 NHL clubs to the Soviet Union for the first time in history. They'll probably play a couple of games in Sweden. The other team will play a couple of games in Finland. And then 2 games in Leningrad, 2 games in Moscow against teams like these that we're seeing tonight.
Do you know who's going at what 2 teams?
No. We've decided, our international committee, which is composed of 3 from the Players Association and 3 from the owners, have decided it's probably in our game's best interest to have 1 team from the U.S. and 1 team from Canada. We have 9 teams from the NHL who have indicated an interest in participating in that type of a schedule, and 2 others, including the Sabres, who said if we're stuck, they would help us, but they'd rather wait a year. Calgary, Montreal, Washington, St. Louis, we've got several good teams interested, and that decision will be made next week in Florida at the general managers meeting. They meet in Florida. That's a smart place to meet.
Yeah, this time of year.
And we'll announce it, I think, on about the 25th of January.
All right, Alan, now there have been some rumors that with the games next season or maybe thereafter that they might count in the standings of National Hockey League teams. Is that anywhere in that program?
I don't think that's going to happen. John Ziegler and I, in our discussions with the general managers, have heard their views. And it would seem to be a little unfair if you wound up, as an example, this tour. Dinamo Riga is obviously a less strong team than Red Army, and if the points counted in the final standings, it might be unfair. The only way we think it can work out is if we had 2 teams from the Soviet Union come over, with each of those teams playing everybody in the 1 conference.
Is that possible?
I don't think so. Under our schedule and theirs, I think it would be too much for 1 team to come over and play 11 games, and in the case of 1 conference and 10 in the other. I suspect that next year we'll have 1 team, or maybe 2 teams from the Soviet Union, come between December 1st and 10th, and then the 2nd team come between December 25th and January 10th.
All right, now the issue of Fetisov or any other of the Soviets staying or coming back to play in the National Hockey League, is there any further word on that?
We were in the Soviet Union in August, and it was 90% done then. All we were waiting for was a meeting for Fetisov with the Minister of Defense. Never in the history of the Soviet Union has a colonel in the Red Army resigned, at least of which have we ever had a colonel in the Red Army resign to come to the United States of America. The Department of Defense and the Minister of Defense have to make the final decision. New Jersey's happy, they've made the deal. The Federation's happy, Fetisov's happy. All we're waiting for, I suppose, is to get the problems of Afghanistan straightened out so that the Minister of Defense can then attend to the important things for us, namely Fetisov.
And do you see, Tikhonov is not involved in this anymore, the Soviet coach?
Well, he's a coach, and like every coach, whether you're in the NHL or in the Soviet Union, Scotty Bowman would appreciate this. You don't want your best player to go to another country or to another team even. The position of Tikhonov, though, has been very straightforward from the start. He likes the idea. He thinks it's good for hockey to give an opportunity to Soviet players to come here, and I think he'll help Fetisov all he can.
Okay. Alan Eagleson, we thank you very much for joining us. Nice to get the word from the guy who's been there. We're at the odd in Buffalo, 4-3 right now. Buffalo leading. We'll be back for more of our intermission right after this.
Introducing a completely different Mercury Cougar.
Take my breath away.
Introducing pulse quickening comfort. The all-new Cougar from Mercury, where comfort and control are one.
The making of freeze-dried Taster's Choice coffee. Search the world for the finest coffee beans. Grind them. And at the peak of freshness, brew the richest, most aromatic coffee you can brew. Then freeze it. Freeze-drying locks in the fresh brewed aroma and flavor until you release it. For a truly superior cup of coffee, the choice for taste is Taster's Choice.
Taste it.
Here, help! Isn't this romantic?
Welcome back to Sports Nightly Studios. Lee Zeidman along with Michael Ruzioni. 4-3 we could have accepted as a final score, but after one period, what a surprise.
Well, it's the first so-called high-scoring period that we've had, and with Sergei Gerasimov playing goal, only one goal that I can really fault him on. One thing that we've been able to do through the series is talk a lot about the Soviets and how they play and how they move the puck. One thing we've forgotten to tell you about is a little of how the National Hockey League teams have tried to change their style a little more to fit the way the Soviets are going to play. Let's take a look at one of the things that the teams are trying to do. You're going to see them stand 4 men across. Although they're not directly across the blue line, they were maybe backed in a little too much. But what you're trying to do is keep the Soviets away from skating the puck into the zone. And then the play ends up developing and it goes for whatever reason. But what we're trying to do and what the National Hockey League teams are trying to do is stand up in the blue line. The Buffalo Sabres in this game are standing 4 men across the blue line, forcing the Soviets to dump the puck in, something they don't want to do. That particular replay, they should have been up a little higher.
Remember, the series is tied, or right now the series has the NHL trailing by 1 win, so a Sabres victory would tie them in the race for Sports Channel America's Friendship Cup. More on that as the evening progresses. Send you back to Buffalo for period 2 after this.
Up, way up. That's what's been happening to cable viewership. At the same time, guess what's happened to network viewership? And the majority of those lost network ratings have gone directly to cable. Over 120 million viewers have found cable, and there's a simple way for advertisers to find them. Plug into the power of cable. America is cable ready.
Sports Channel America is making headlines. We're now on live, prime time, 7 nights a week. In addition to our extensive NHL coverage, Sports Channel America delivers 37 hotly contested men's college basketball matchups, women's basketball featuring the highly ranked Southeastern Conference, and the best in high school hoops. Plus, Sports Channel America offers hard-hitting boxing, tennis, and more. Be a part of the new era in cable sports. Sports Channel America, 7 nights a week. The following message is brought to you by Sports Channel America.
I'm John McClain. As the NHL competes with the Soviets in the NHL Super Series, we're reminded of the earthquake that devastated Soviet Armenia. The American Red Cross International Disaster Relief Fund has a special 800 number you can call. Your contribution goes toward providing relief for the hundreds of thousands left homeless. Please call 1-800-453-9000 or send your contribution to the address on the screen. Thank you.
We saw a 7-goal first period. Sabres leading 4-3. Let's go back to the odd in Buffalo. Jiggs McDonald, Scotty Bowman standing by. Gents?
Well, it was a wide-open first period of hockey that we saw, Lee. And I think really you see some of the youth and the speed that the Soviet Union team possesses. I remember a general manager and a coach, but the guy who was the general manager on his first-round draft choice selecting a player from Czechoslovakia. The kid's name was Dudacek. The general manager was this man, Scotty Bowman. Now there'll be a lot of GMs considering, I think, Scotty, Soviet players, maybe not as high as first round yet. But if we ever get this thing to the point where we know those players are coming out, there are some good ones. Although Buffalo took advantage of some areas in this period.
Yes, I think when you look at the Soviet Union, there's an awful lot of players there. Whether they'll let them go, Alan Eagleson alluded to the fact that, you know, maybe it'll never happen, maybe it will, but he thought he had a deal.
Buffalo thought they had themselves a pretty good period as well. They're up by a score of 3-1 thanks to a power play goal.
Bodger keeps it in, and the key of old Vive, he's able to get to the goal line after Bodger throws it ahead. Finally, it comes back, and Vive is struggling now to get this puck. And another good play by Housen to keep it in on the other side. And now the Sabres start working on. Ruutu finally gives it. The Soviet defenseman leaves the front of the net, and Vive makes a good play here from the goal line. He puts it right in the top corner. Here's the pass from Ruutu. He comes right out in front. The goalie doesn't challenge him, and he puts it right. But great shot by Vive to make it 3-1.
Following that, Buffalo is to get a shorthanded goal by Lindy Ruff. They have themselves a 4-1 lead, but in the last couple of minutes of the first period, the Soviets just took the play right away from Buffalo.
Yes, the Emichov who's replacing Krutov, but Makarov makes the play. He waits, and finally, number 6 will come in front of the net. Kasatonov, he just deflects this. Here's what Makarov's waiting for. He's a defenseman, he's about 5 feet from the goal, and the other Soviet forward, the Emichov, is right there, but Kasatonov makes it 4-3. A good pass from Makarov.
Indeed, and Soviet Union Central Red Army team cuts the margin to 1 as the teams have returned to the ice for the second period. We'll be back with that right after these messages.
You can't get hipper than moi. Health club, can't you tell? Mousse in my hair. Tanning salon every Thursday. Whatever kind of food I'm eating, that's the kind of beer I'm drinking. Comprendo?
When you're done kidding around, Heineken.
Oh! Designer sweats, remote control, everything. VP at 28. Whoa! My imported beer, whatever's in this week.
Like we said, when you're done kidding around, Heineken.
Back at Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo as the teams are on the ice, the coaching staffs making their way along the ice. Scotty, talking to you about the fact that, well, we're going to get a goaltending change. As I look down at the Soviet goal, you see that Milnikov is going to take over for Galashimov to start the second period. There's Viktor Tikhonov. Boris Mikhailov, his assistant coach, headed for the Soviet bench. I mentioned the fact that you selected a young man from the Czechoslovakian Hockey Federation. Never did get him out.
No, and he became he had a lot of problems with his health. And you know, the strange thing about that draft, though, the player that we were going to take at that time was a player by the name of Todd Struve, and he was selected by Edmonton on a 29th pick. He never played in the NHL as well, so I never really felt at the time, when you get down to the low part of that first round, if you ever could get one. Dudacek at the time was a world-class player, rated about the best in the world. But health problems, they wouldn't let him go when he was healthy, and then he became sick. And, of course, he's out of hockey. But the Sabres did draft Alexander Moligny this year. He scored 3 goals in 7 minutes in the World Championships, in the Junior Championships in Anchorage, Alaska. So I don't know if you'll ever get him, but maybe a high pick for a Soviet fifth round pick. But I think you'll see the NHL teams. The talent is so spread out, they'll take the Europeans at the right place.
Well, there were several drafted in this draft year of 1988. Immediately coming to mind the fact that the Washington Capitals selected a player on the 5th round. McGillney was selected here in Buffalo on the next round. And there were some selections later on down the line as well. I think a total of 11 Soviets. Dmitry Ristich was the young man that was selected by Washington in the 6th round after McGillney had been selected. Kamensky, who we've watched tonight, selected by Quebec in the 8th round. There were 2 more in the 10th, 3 in the 11th, and 3 in the 12th round. Now, can you translate that, Mr. Bowman?
Well, I don't know if we're in the Soviet Union or not, but we've got a lot of these kind of signs, and we have no idea what they're saying. Only the people that put them up.
I think some of the university students have been hard at work today. All set for the second period. Buffalo leading by a score of 4-3 as the draw went back to Johansson. Ramsey moved it up the left side. Donnelly has put it down in the Soviet zone, and that's the Tsov with it. Rutu, forechecking, knocked it away from the Nemchinov, who picks it up now, comes over center ice. And Makarov with him, the Nemchinov moving in. Turned on Ramsey, and Rutu picked him up. The puck comes back to Starikov for a shot. Wide of the Buffalo goal. Got Luce in the nets tonight. Makarov brings it out of the corner. Fetisov goes in toward the front of the net, then backs away. And the pass along the boards was picked up and cleared by Clyde. Went right back to Ramsey, now to Rutu. Christian Rutu gives it to Scott Arneal. Across to the near side. Johansson moves it through center. Couldn't get it to Rutu. Starnikov's pass. Kamensky knocked down at the Buffalo blue line. And here's Rick Vine. Got it wide. Mildakov leaves it for Fetisov. Vyacheslav Fetisov. Homatov to Fetisov. Like those short passes. That one was blocked. Now Kamensky unloads. And Housley blocked it in front. Fetisov shot one off the side of the net. Housley takes it away from Homatov and shot it off his own goal. Housley gets double teamed. The Soviet center, and they tied it up. Out in front quickly to Bykov, and it's 4-4.
Well, the Soviets come out smoking in this second period, and we saw Inchov make a good play along the boards earlier, but Fetisov made this rush, nearly scored. Housley couldn't handle the puck. Here's Fetisov, and the puck will come back to him as he's going to a line change. It sort of slides over here. He just throws it at the goal. It misses the net. Housley's trying to handle it, and finally, Bykov, number 19's in front all alone, and he roots this shot. Boy, right in the top corner. 4-4.
So quick. Bykov's 5th goal of this series. He leads all Soviets in scoring. And that's Bykov moving it from back to his own goal. Kamensky down the left side. Kamensky, a right-hand shot, centered one, and it was shot wide by Homatov. Kamensky knocks it down back of the net. It's checked by Hogue. Then while Hogue played it up the boards, Bykov got to it. Bykov turns, pulls it back into his skates, kept it on the stick for the pass to Homatov. It's broken up and cleared out by the Sabres. Backboard is Kasatonov. Gusarov up the near side. Kamensky failed to pick up the puck. Housley will go back.
Number 15, Andrei Homatov. And number 13, Valery Kavinsky.
Homatov and Kamensky got the assists on the goal by Bykov at 1:16 of the second period.
It's been a story of Sabres season. The confidence level goes up and down. They were so confident when it's 4-1. Those 2 goals at the end of the first period seems to have shaken them a little bit. They have to settle down.
Now the Soviets trying to move out. Kasatonov got checked. Metcalf centered one. Shepard couldn't knock it out of the air. Priestley fires it off the pads of Mildakov. Picked up by Malakov. Turned over at center. Shepard waits at the blue line. Now backhands it in. Malakov goes back on the Soviet defense. He is number 7, teamed up with Konstantinov. When the series began, this young number 16 defenseman, Konstantinov, was playing regularly with Fetisov. Now Ramsey back in his own zone. Sabres come to center. Here's Shepard over the line. Finds some room. Comes right in. He shoots the one wide on the glove side of Mildakov. Got up by Telepukin. Down right wing. Telepukin cuts to the left side. Centered it back, and it's cleared by the Buffalo defense. Diakin puts it behind the net. The Sabres trying to tie up Chernik in front. Now Shepard gets some help as Ramsey clears the zone and Fetisov drops back. Fetisov to Shabirov. Shabirov into the center ice area. Plays it into the Buffalo zone. Fetisov comes in off the wing, shoots. Good stop by Cloutier. Fetisov tied up back in the net by Mike Ramsey, rather. Here's Fetisov getting away from Shepard. Look at this. Fetisov, the puck control. Nobody can catch him. Nobody can check him. Fetisov putting on a one-man demonstration. Then he gave it to his teammate, and it's knocked off the stick of Chikin, who has to go back to recover. Some display. And now the Soviets bumped as they tried to move into the Buffalo zone. The play broken up, and Rutu can't handle it at center ice. Rick 5 does. 5 pulled it in around Larry Arnott, and then Fetisov took him off the skates.
Doing it all, but the Soviets have got too much of this puck for the Sabres' liking. They've got to get some attack going because they're just defending all the second periods.
Arneal centers, 5 shot goes wide. Playfair started in. It's picked up, however, and brought out by Starikov. Sergei Starikov putting it in the Buffalo end of the ice. Ali Johansson picks it up back of the net. Turned it over to Makarov. Centers it out in front. Here's Larry Arnott. Turns. Beats the blue line. Gusarov with a shot. Glove save. And Cloutier holds on to it. They're 4 minutes and 40 seconds into the second period. The score is tied 4-4. You're watching the Superpower Series on Sports Channel.
The National Hockey League is speed, action, and excitement. And you've got a front row seat to this next exciting matchup. Saturday, they're lighting up the Hollywood scoreboard. The great Wayne Gretzky and the high-scoring Kings collide with hard-checking forward Kevin Dineen and the Whalers. It's Hartford versus Los Angeles. Live at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central on Sports Channel America, Saturday.
Well, the fans of Memorial Auditorium have been treated to some display. 7 goals in that first period. The Soviets taking control of the game here in the second, tying it up. Now Gusarov shot goes wide. Sabres moving up through center ice, down into the Soviet Union zone. Gusarov back. Niemchinov takes it back to the net. Now to Kasatonov. Alexei Kasatonov. Niemchinov comes over the line, drops it to Makarov. Makarov in on the left side, gets Housley turning, centered one out, it's tipped by Turgeon. Konstantinov on defense, into Makarov. Makarov got bumped and taken down by Doug Bodger. Bill Housley plays it to right wing to Foligno, into the center ice zone to Turgeon. Comes over the line, the puck knocked off his stick, Foligno has it. His drop pass, broken up neatly by Makarov. Makarov to Larry Arnott. Yensky out to join this line. Larry Arnott shot blocked. The rebound. Makarov can't get it in. Back of the net. It's Johansson playing it to the left side for Ruff. Lindy Ruff dumps it in from center ice.
Sabres defense, though, have not played the body at all against these speedy forwards. You know, they've got a good offensive defense core, but they've got to play better in their own end.
Now they get that opportunity. Parker's shot turned aside by Milnikov. Here's Kamensky at center ice. Kamensky chased to the corner. Playfair takes him back of the net, wrestles him to the ice. No penalty call. The puck turned over. Larry Arnott shot is blocked. Cloutier down. They bang at it. It ends up in the far corner for Ruff. Lindy Ruff to Parker. Puts it in the Soviet zone. Milnikov steers it aside. Malikov moves it out of the zone. Sabres trying to get back in. Can't do it. Delayed offside, in effect, here now is called with 13.5 minutes remaining in this second period. The clock continued to run for a couple of moments. You're watching the NHL Soviet Union on the Superpower Series.
Experience the completely redesigned Mercury Cougar. Call for your free Cougar preview kit. You'll discover all that's new about Cougar. To get your road test report, competitive comparison guide, Cougar technical glossary, 24-page full-color brochure, and more, call 1-800-446-1989 today.
Playfair all over Kamensky here. Fortunately didn't get a penalty. Throws him to the ice, but the good chance comes to Larry Arnott. He's right in the slot area. Here it is right here. He lets it go, and Cloutier makes another good save.
Larry Aronoff still looking for his first goal in this series. Kamensky, interestingly, is out there on that line with Makarov and Larry Aronoff. This is Zalabukin. Larry Zalabukin taken to the ice by Mike Ramsey. Davidoff moves into the puck. I'll get some help in the form of Chernik. Went to center one. It comes out in front of the net, grabbed by Kluche, and there's no further play. Rick Vine having words with one of the Soviets. It's Fetisov, the big defenseman.
They're strong, though. Mike Ramsey's one of the stronger defensemen in the league. When he's in the corner, he plays the body. We saw he was all over with the Soviet forward and really had a hard time even controlling him.
Remind you again that our question of the night is, would you like to see the Stanley Cup champs play a European champion to determine a world title? 75 cents per call. If you say yes, you would like to see that, 1-900-300-6311. If you're opposed, 1-900-300-6312. Again, there is a 75-cent per call charge to decide whether or not you would like to see the Stanley Cup champs against the Soviets or a European team for a world title. We'll have the results following the game tonight on Sports Nightly. 4-4 is the score in Buffalo. Now Satonov went back to the net. Lays it up the wing, out of the reach of Biakin. Christian Rutu recovers and dumps it right back in again. It was knocked down by Gusarov across to the right side and shot into the Buffalo zone by Kostyukhin. Kluche banks it off the glass to Ramsey to the line. Gusarov held it in, lays it behind the net. Kluche gives it to Housley. He and Ramsey were there together. Now Housley finds some room and starts out. Minnesota native comes over the Soviet line with a pass to Turgeon. Trying to cut in, and his shot went wide. Foligno has just come out on a player change. Chases it to the corner. Foligno goes back to the net now. Tries a wraparound that won't go. Foligno battles for the puck. Got it to Turgeon. Turgeon checked by Gusarov. Foligno right in to take the body. Turgeon trying to control the puck. Gusarov all over him. Turgeon goes back to the net, right into Kasatonov, and it's moved up the board. The Imchinov is down on the ice. He has been shaken up. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching the Superpower Face-Off Series.
Including Macho Man Randy Savvy, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, and Ted DiBiase, all live for the Summit in Houston, Sunday afternoon, January 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on pay-per-view. Don't get shut out. Order now. Contact your local cable system for complete details.
Niemchinov coming back to the Soviet bench. Let's see what happened in the Soviet zone.
There's Donnelly coming in. It's Donnelly's stick that strikes the Imchinov right in the face area. He goes down. Fortunately, McCreary was on the other side and didn't see it. Donnelly was also caught a little bit, so it must have happened previous to that.
The Soviets have a trainer. You saw the doctor momentarily working on him at the bench. They also have a psychologist traveling with the team. There are several people whose duties we do not know officially, but they are regarded as very important on this tour. I guess you could read between the lines, huh?
And they're always with the players.
Always. Mentioned in the first period, the players will not go home until Thursday night. They'll leave from Washington. Remember a story a few years ago that we'll try and relate later on. Davidoff with the puck here. Dumps it in deeper. Housley gets to it and starts out. A few seasons ago, after one of these Superpower series, when they went to go home, Aeroflot decided that they had too much luggage. It was overweight. They asked the National Hockey League to foot the bill for the excess baggage. The league said no. The Soviets came up with enough rubles, finally, to get the jeans and the stereos and the records and everything else back home.
That's when they left Washington. That's right.
Now Starikov at center ice. To Bikov, and it's offside as they moved into the Buffalo end of the ice.
Milnikov does not stop a lot of shots that are thrown around the boards. If the Sabres want to get some pressure in the Soviet zone, throw them along the sideboards and get around behind the net, because sometimes he doesn't come out. He was fortunate there to hit a bad bounce and stayed behind the net, but they have always been reluctant to come out and play pucks behind the net.
Now we watch as they make a change. Bikov comes in to take the face-off. Kamensky is on the left side. Olmatov over on right wing, so Tikhonov is coaching like Scotty Bowman used to. He is shaking up his line, juggling a lot of people tonight. Some of that, of course, because of injury. The game is tied midway through the second period. It's 4-4 at Buffalo as Bikoff handles the puck outside the blue line. Olmatov with it now. Were you the first that you recall to do all... What? Look out, here's Vitov. Seesaw moving in, the puck knocked away, and Shepard clears the zone. I was going to ask, were you the first that did all that juggling of lines, Scotty?
No, it's long before me. I'm not going to take the blame for that one.
Broadcaster's nightmare, coaches like you, Arbor, and some of the great ones. Olmatov centering it back. Fetisov put it right between Kamensky's skates. Larry Kamensky having a little nap in the Buffalo end of the ice.
Milnikov's been resting this first 10 minutes. He's hardly had a shot.
2 shots for the Sabres, that's all. Now both teams in the middle of player changes. Now Satonov gave it to Zelepukin into the center ice zone. Puck ends up in the Buffalo territory. Mike Ramsey dumps it down the boards. They rule the Soviets could have played it. As Satonov does. Holt comes into forecheck. Chernik turns, heads up the middle. The pass instead goes to Guzerov this time. And he dumps it down the ice. Ramsey is back. Mike Ramsey trying to move it out of the zone. Hit Parker, ends up in the corner. Here's Zelepukin walking out of the corner. The backhander, Kluche the save, and there's no further play. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching the Superpower Face-Off series on Sports Channel America.
He's back.
I'm finally on the wagon.
He's funny. He's broke.
Arthur's just lost $750 million.
This was back when $750 million was considered a lot of money. Oh, yeah.
He's Arthur.
Hi, honey. We're poor.
Dudley Moore, Liza Minnelli, Arthur 2 on the Rocks.
He's yours in the comedy that's right on the money. Arthur 2 on the Rocks. Easy to order on Viewer's Choice.
Well, there's a goaltending change. You look at Jacques Luce at the Buffalo bench. He's replaced now by Darren Pupa at the 11-11 mark. He just came up with a big save off Zelepukin right here.
2-on-1. Ramsey went to the other side, and Kluche was able to handle Zelepukin on a backhand shot. A lot of turnovers by the Sabres defensemen. But now with the goalie change, I'm sure that Ted Sater maybe had this in mind, depending on what kind of a game it was, felt that Kluche has had enough work tonight. Give some work to Pupa. His last start was in New Jersey, played only the first 2 periods. It was relieved by Kluche in that 5-4 loss last Friday, and then Kluche won the game in Toronto.
So Darren Pupa gets an opportunity to warm up before the puck is put in play again. The Soviets just standing around, and at the bench you have a look at Viktor Tikhonov. He's 58 years of age now. He played for 11 seasons in Moscow with the Dynamo Club. Do you know that his wife is an attorney, Tatiana? He has a son, Vasily, as well, who plays for a second division team in the Soviet Union. Victor had not won a major tournament from 1986 until the Soviets won the gold medal in Calgary in February of '88.
There's a great Soviet player beside him, now the assistant coach, Boris Mikhailov, who wore number 13 and was such a great player. But, you know, when there was another coach, Ursanov, that used to coach with Tikkanen, and the media, when they were, after seeing these guys look so dour, they called Tikkanen Smiles and the other guy Chuckles.
There are a few more smiles from Victor these days. I mentioned earlier.
Well, the pressure's off. That's right. He's coached so long, but there was a lot of pressure on him. Had a couple of bad years. Lost the, I think, the World Championship one year.
Smiles and chuckles.
Of course, lost the Olympics in 1980 as well. That was the big loss to the United States.
And back in our studio tonight was a very big part of that, Mike Urizioni. I'm Jakes McDonald with Scotty Bowman here at Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo. 4-4 is the score. Buffalo led 4-1 at one time, and now the cross-ice pass. Zelepukin moves in, shoots, and it went wide. Zelepukin has had a couple of big chances to get this lead back to the Soviets. They had led 1-0 early in this hockey game. Now the Sabres. Benoit Hogue made it to the right side. Anderson putting it in the Soviet zone. Asatonov got knocked off the puck. Guzerov is right there. Guzerov is the one Soviet player who has the largest collection of hockey pucks All the players on this team, everywhere he goes, he has to get another puck. Housley let it go to the corner. Played back to the net for Parker. To the left side for Rutu. Centered one. It's grabbed and held by the goaltender Milnikov. College basketball excitement comes your way tomorrow on Sports Channel America. That's when sophomore Kevin Berry, the combo of Kevin Berry and Derek Canada, lead Army into a battle against Jasper Walker and the talented squad of St. Peter's. That action starting at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Sports Channel America. Check your local listings for the regional game in your area.
Soviets got a little careless in their own end. Parker was 1 against 4, came up with the loose puck. Housley went right to the front of the net the way Kasatonov scored in the first period and just about tipped it in.
They have the fourth line out now for Central Red Army. And they move the puck smartly. Kozchikin comes in, is taken off the puck. There'll be a penalty. Roger taking a man down. But the referee, Bill McCreary, spotted something else.
I think it's on Housley for tripping. It was a 2-on-2. Housley lost the puck just outside the Soviet line, and Bodger handled his man well, but Housley's in for tripping.
So the Soviets have an opportunity now on the power play.
2 minutes for tripping.
May have a hold of him right there. Yes, there. It would have. Well, Housley was actually caught. It would have been a 2-on-1.
On the night, this will be the third power play for the Soviets. As you look at Phil Housley in the penalty box.
Leads the Sabres in shots on goal for a defenseman, 109 in just 42 games.
Wow. Kamensky gets the puck back to Starikov. Ramsey ran into him, sent him flying. Soviets keep it in the Buffalo zone, however. Larry Ernoff sets up back of the net. Larry Ernoff centered one. It's tipped under Pupa. Comes right back into the pads, and play is called. Makarov complaining that the puck was still loose when the whistle sounded.
But they're so great at the decoy play. And you see Larionov, they seem to be looking out at the blue line. They're going for a play right at the goal crease. I think it was Kamensky was there, and his stick was on the ice, and here's Larionov. He tips it, and Pupa makes the save. Doesn't know where it is. It's able to be scrambled under him, but that's what the Soviets do so well. They decoy and decoy and decoy, but that forward, Kamensky, should not be allowed to stand there that long. Otherwise, he's going to tip one in like he did.
If they were to come back to play tomorrow night, they'd get one pretty good probably. Maybe even later in this period. Kamensky plays the puck back to Starikov, went rink wide to Fetisov. Now to Larry Arnoff. To Starikov. In along the boards, this is Kamensky. Centers it across, that's Fetisov with it now. To Larry Arnoff, finds some opening, moves right in, gave it to Fetisov, and he's beaten by Pupa. Good stop by Pupa as Fetisov blasted off the right way.
But it's hard to believe Larionov is right down the slot area. We see why he hasn't scored a goal in this series, although he's a great playmaker. He should have shot that puck.
Yes, he should have, and he's over the line again. Plays it to Fetisov, drops it back to Makarov. Makarov moves in, pulls up, gave it to Fetisov. That's box defense set up, Holt moved over on Fetisov. Fetisov, constant motion. Now he comes back toward the blue line. Went rink wide to Kamensky to Starikov. Into Kamensky to Starikov on the left wing boards. Turns, plays it in off Larry Arnoff's stick. Here's Kamensky centering. It's under Bodger. Oh, scooped out of the goal mouth. What a stop by Pupa. The Soviets set up again. Makarov to Fetisov. Over it goes to Starikov. Back to the blue line. Fetisov fires one. Pupa pad save, and Hogue gets to the rebound. Flips it ahead to Parker, who's cleared it to center. 18 seconds left in Housley's tripping penalty, and the crowd reacts to the play of the Buffalo defense.
Great saves by Pupa, though, having to read to anticipate the play, but the Soviets worked it perfect and ended up with a 2-on-1 at the goal mouth.
Now Bikov drops it back. Fetisov comes over center ice. He's logged a lot of ice time tonight. Puts it deep in the Buffalo zone. Teams are at 6 aside again, and Foligno picks up the puck for the Sabres. His pass went off Turgeon's skates. Turgeon plays it away from Kasatonov. Housley in the Sabres, in the Soviet zone, I should say, was knocked down. Davidoff with the puck at center ice. He's across the line, stick handling, runs into traffic. Bodger knocks it outside the blue line. Now the Soviets set up again. Homatov cuts to right wing. The pass up the boards was there for him. He chases it into the Buffalo zone. Homatov with some speed. Gets checked as he went back of the net as Turgeon was right with him. Now it's Bodger trying the left side. The pass out of the reach of his teammate. Not too far ahead of Mike Donnelly, and Kasatonov goes back. Gave it to Gusarov. Gusarov tries the right side. That's Homatov open. Diakin moves into the center ice zone, as does Bikov. Homatov carrying the puck now, dumps it in. Lupa moves out of the net. All three Soviet players went into forecheck. Gusarov here at the left point works the puck in a little deeper. Bikov gets knocked down back of the net. Sabres moving around to Shepard, and he's been able to clear the zone. 4 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the second period. And that only the one goal scored, then by Bikov, back at 1:16 to tie it 4-4. Malakov dropped it back in. Homatov tries the right side. Slipped in by Diakin and cleared right back out again. Ray Shepard put it in the Soviet zone. Malakov went to the right side. This is Chernik. He, Zelepukin, and Diakin move over the line. Chernik goes to the corner, rounds the net with it. Chernik feeds the blue line. Konstantinov shot. The rebound. Pupa got in front of Zelepukin's stride. Konstantinov at the blue line. Plays it into the corner. Zelepukin gets bumped. Shepard battling for it, went off Konstantinov, and now it's cleared out into center ice.
Playing that funny game, the Soviets, Jake. There's one puck, and they've got it all night, especially this second period.
And now the Sabres take over, but are offside as they moved into the Soviet end of the ice. 3.5 minutes remaining in the second period. We've been treated to a dandy again tonight at Memorial Auditorium as the Soviets and the National Hockey League complete the series, and you're watching it right here on Sports Channel.
The making of freeze-dried Taster's Choice coffee. Search the world for the finest coffee beans. Grind them. And at the peak of freshness, brew the richest, most aromatic coffee you can brew. Then freeze it. Freeze-drying locks in the fresh brewed aroma and flavor until you release it. For a truly superior cup of coffee, the choice for taste is Taster's Choice.
Taste it.
From the draw, the Sabres moved into the Soviet zone. Rutu took a dive. There is no call on the play. Koschekin comes back. And to the right side to Davidoff. He got rubbed down on the boards. Housley moves it to Rutu. Put it in the middle. Shadurov was there and was stripped of the puck. Now Housley runs into Koschekin at center ice. Bodger shot one high off the glass. Stays in play. Comes back into Fetisov. Arneal picked him up. Stole the puck. Couldn't get a shot away. And there's another rarity to see Fetisov have a cross-ice pass intercepted like that. The Soviets and the Buffalo Sabres are tied 4-4. Sabres haven't been able to generate anything this period until just a moment ago. And here's Arneal handling the puck. Scott Arneal centered. Fetisov got that play and then lost it to Housley. Housley a wraparound. Here's 5. Centered it between the skates of Arneal. Housley gets to it. Bill Housley down on one knee, and his pass cut off by Starikov. He plays it out of the zone. Back comes 5.
So the crowd's buzzing, and that's something the Sabres have to do. Is we see the Soviets in their end are not much better than the Sabres, but haven't been able to be in there enough. The Sabres should take some confidence on this one.
Now Buffalo moves in offside. 4-4 is the score. You're watching the Superpower Series on Sports Channel.
It learned to run in the Black Forest of Germany. But unlike others, it also learned to be nice to people. Scorpio, the German sedan that's comfortable without forgetting what it learned in the forest. Scorpio, German performance you can be comfortable with.
Now get $2,000 customer cash on 1988 Scorpio from Lincoln Mercury.
39-year-old Ted Sater, who coached in Sweden for 5 seasons, very familiar with the European style of hockey. You saw him talking to his troops at the Buffalo bench.
It was Christian Rudu could try to get that one up the middle. It was intercepted, and that's one thing against the Soviets in the neutral zone. Stay away from the middle.
Now Ruff plays it behind the net. Parker in after. Jeff Parker centers off Starikov skates, or Kasatonov skates, excuse me. Lindy Ruff reaches in. Got the puck to Hogue. To Parker. Coming in off the blue line is Anderson. He's taken off the puck by Kasatonov. Gusarov holds it against the boards. Bill McCreary can see the puck. It's still in play. What a battle for it on the end boards. Out in front, Ruff was knocked down. He gets up complaining. In the meantime, Anderson is pushing. He and Casatonov. Biakin is having words with Ruff. Benoit Hogue is in pushing and shoving.
Well, certainly 25, Biakin and Ruff, they've turns knocking each other down in front of the net. But the referee was concentrating on the play. As you know, in the National League, Jigs, they don't call those plays around that are on the boards, and they don't blow that quick whistle. And sometimes I think it causes further problems, but he let it go and let it go. Here it is right now. They're milling, and there's 22. There's Ruff. Well, it was actually the defenseman, I think, it was Larry Anoff that Ruff knocked down, and then finally 25, Biakin knocked Ruff down. But face-off coming outside.
They got the puck just outside the Soviet blue line. Here's Biakin back on the bench. Victor Tikhonov very animated in his discussion now with his team. The two of you ever talk after having coached against one another, Scotty?
With an interpreter. That's the difficult part, you know, that he doesn't speak English, I don't speak Russian. And, you know, we talk a bit with signs. I saw him coming in tonight, and he was pointing to my crest, wondering what team I was with. I said, no, I had to look and show him a television set. I said, that's where I am.
Yeah, he caught on immediately. I was interested, too, the way Mikhailov came right over to talk to you. Certainly remember Scotty Bowman, I would think, from a lot of coaching experiences, primarily maybe that would it be New Year's Eve in Montreal, that great 3-3 tie?
Yeah, he scored one of the 3 goals. He was a real star also in that Challenge Cup. He just about buried us in the second game.
Well, that was the series at Madison Square Garden, huh, in 80? Yep. 79, I guess it was. Bikov over the line, dumped it in. Johansson in. Once they go back to the net, Turgeon trying to tie up Kenyetsky. The puck goes to Homatov. Put one in front of the goal, steered aside by Pupa. Out it up to Mike Molino. Molino out into the center ice zone. Johansson plays it rink wide. And there is Starikov with the Soviet defense. Up to Bikov. Dropped it back. And quick shot blocked by Pupa. Homatov got it up high on the blocking glove side. Now the Sabres come to center. Rutu with the puck. The pass to the right side to Housley. Housley looks for help. Got it across to Arneal, and it's broken up. Out come the Soviets. Kamensky to Fetisov, and he's offside. We talked early tonight about how the Soviets very rarely go offside. Either the offside pass or, in that case, getting ahead of the puck carrier at the blue line, but they've done it.
Where they really make it tough, too, though, Jigs, is because of the defense getting involved in the attack. When you're in your own end, they get you running around. We saw a classic example most of this second period. The Sabres trying to chase different guys. And in our league, oftentimes, it's only a couple of forwards, and they pinch in with both defensemen. I guess it's the confidence factor that they can get back with the speed. They have an awful lot of patience. It's amazing. You look like they're going to take a shot, and they'll wait and wait until somebody gets in a better position. They move the puck.
And we're going to get an opportunity to watch more of it. There's still the third period to go. This game is tied at 4, and the Challenge Cup, the Sports Channel Friendship Cup is on the line. The Challenge Cup, of course, was 79. And now some jostling. Linesman Ron Finn got between the two players. They're still shoulder to shoulder in the center ice area. Ron Finn pushing Rutu away, directing him toward the dressing room. Zelepukin right over at Rutu.
Well, he challenged Kasatonov initially, I think, and there was talk that Kasatonov, if there is a Soviet that doesn't like the extra aggressive play, it's Kasatonov. People that played in the Canada Cup always remarked about that.
Well, the two teams filing off toward the dressing room areas now with a 4-4 tie up on the board, and the Soviets getting the only goal of that second period to tie it. So with the Friendship Cup still on the line here, if the game should end in a tie, the Soviets would win it. Buffalo, all the Sabres need to do is win the game, and then the NHL would receive the Friendship Cup as provided by Sports Channel. And if the Soviets win the game, then it's automatic. A win or a tie, the Friendship Cup would go to the Soviets. In that period, the Soviet Union, Central Red Army team, had 14 shots on goal. The Buffalo Sabres had only 3. So your totals, 24-15. The Soviet Union out shooting Buffalo thus far. The goal scored at the 1:16 mark. Bikov is 5th in this series. Homatov and Kamensky had the assists on that goal. So we're tied at 4 at the end of 2 periods at Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo. Standing by in our Sports Channel studios, Mike Ruzioni and Lee Zeidman.
Thanks, Jigs. 3 of the NHL's 4 division leaders are on the ice tonight. Scores and highlights ahead.
And I'm Mike Ruzioni. I'll have a closer look at why the Soviets have been vulnerable around their own net.
Expert analysis, scores, and highlights Sports Nightly after this.
See WWF champion Macho Man Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Bad News Brown, Hercules, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Jake the Snake Roberts, Outlaw Ron Bass, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, the Big Boss Man, plus many other great superstars. It's the Battle of the Bodies in a superposed town. Intercontinental Champion Ultimate Warrior matches bodies with Ravishing Rick Rude, plus a special 6-man tag team match. Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Hart Foundation tangle with Gino Bravo and the fabulous Rougeau brothers. All this plus the women's championship match, a battle for the crown, King Haku to beat Harley Race. Presented live from the Summit in Houston, January 15th, 4 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on pay-per-view. Don't get shut out. Order now. Contact your local cable system for complete details.
The National Hockey League is speed, action, and excitement. And you've got a front row seat to this next exciting matchup. Saturday, they're lighting up the Hollywood scoreboard. The great Wayne Gretzky and the high-scoring Kings collide with hard-checking forward Kevin Dineen and the Whalers. It's Hartford versus Los Angeles. Live at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central on Sports Channel America, Saturday. Every hit, every shot, every save. With more games than ever before, watch the NHL's brightest stars shine. You'll be slamming and jamming with the tops in men's college hoops on Sports Channel America. MAC Rookie of the Year Derek Canada leads the spirited Army attack against hometown favorite Jasper Walker and the Peacocks of St. Peter's. Live at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Sports Channel America, Tuesday.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly Studios. A special welcome to Florida viewers who just saw the Florida-South Florida game. I'm Lee Zeidman along with Micah Ruzioni. The Soviets have tied the Buffalo Sabres at 4-4 with just 1 goal scored in that second period. Well, the one thing we've seen of the Sabres that other NHL teams haven't been so successful at is taking the game to the Red Army.
You know, it's been interesting about how this whole series has gone and things that we've talked about the Soviets, what they do well, what they don't do well. And one thing that I remember Herb Brooks talked about throughout the series was what the Soviets don't like to do is they don't like to move people around from in front of the net. They let people stand around. I remember Herb used to call that bloody nose alley. If you were standing in front of the net and you were going to wait for a rebound, expect to get knocked down, expect to get hit pretty good. That's one thing the Soviets do not do. Let's take a look at a couple of replays, although they were from the first period, but goals were scored because the Soviets just don't move people out in front of the net. There's the first goal by Foligno. That made it 1-0, but then again, see the people standing around in front of the net? Nobody's moving them out, nobody's knocking them down. Again, another rebound, they stay with the puck, and he bangs it in. You cannot do that. They cannot do that, and that's one of the things that the Soviets have been vulnerable with that we talked about. They let people stand around in front of the net, and you keep staying there and the rebound's there, you're going to bang some pucks in.
So while it was the Soviets who scored the only goal from that second period, the Sabres are getting their opportunities. Sports Channel America's Friendship Cup is on the line tonight. The Soviets can clinch the cup with a win or a tie. They lead the series, but should the Sabres come through with a victory tonight, the series would be tied at 6-6-2. In the event of a tie, we'll go to goals scored as the tiebreaker, and that would give the National Hockey League the Friendship Cup. As you took a look there, you saw that the NHL is 3 goals ahead, 45-42 of the Soviets, and that would be the tiebreaker, and the cup would go to the National Hockey League.
Well, it's funny when you play with the tiebreaker and that goals for, goals against. I remember, again, my experience with that situation was the Olympic Games. We were going into the game with West Germany. If we beat West Germany by 8 goals, we would have come in first and then played Finland in the first round instead of the Soviets. We go into the game thinking we're going to win by 8 goals. We're trailing 2-0, and panic sets in, and we ended up just winning the game. But it's an interesting format because now you're playing with numbers.
And we'll see how the numbers work out in the third period. Regardless of the winner, we're still going to have an ongoing argument over who's the best in the world when it comes to hockey. With that in mind, here's tonight's question for the fan call. Would you like to see the Stanley Cup champions play a European championship team to determine a world champion? If you say yes, dial 1-900-300-6311. If you say no, dial 1-900-300-6312. Dial carefully. Each call costs 75 cents, and some proceeds will go to the benefit Armenian earthquake victims. Well, Mike, I'll save you 75 cents. What's your vote?
Well, it's an interesting format. Which European champion? Are we going to include Sweden? Are we going to include Finland? Are we going to include Czechoslovakia? Or are you going to take the Soviet Red Army? And Scotty Bowman talked about it at the beginning of the show. Are you going to take the Soviet Red Army team and call them a team? In essence, they are almost the Soviets' all-star team. If you want to break up the Red Army team, let them play their own championship against a team from the Elite League in Sweden, a team from the Elite League in West Germany, and all the other countries that have Elite Leagues, Switzerland, Italy, France. Take those teams together and play. Hey, it would be fun, but I don't think you'll ever see that.
I feel like a political correspondent. Are you for it or against it?
I'm against it because I don't think you're going to see the Soviet Central Red Army team disbanded. They're always going to be an all-star team.
Yes, and they're so good they make it boring. We're going to take a break, then run down the NHL action of the night.
Someone once said the best way to follow football action is to follow the quarterback's arm. This quarterback's arm belongs to Jim Kelly, and he's holding a copy of the Sporting News, which is really the best way to follow football action.
I've been reading the Sporting News for 12 years now, and when it comes to inside information, this is the next best thing to a coach's meeting. The Sporting News, for total team coverage, college and pro. More football facts and stats than any other sports weekly. Plus hot news of baseball, basketball, and hockey. Take it from this quarterback. The Sporting News is America's favorite way to follow football action. And now, delivered right to your door at a 75% savings.
Call 1-800-453-1905 and get 50 big issues of the Sporting News for 4 easy payments of just $7.47. You'll save 75% off the cover price, save 50% off the regular subscription rate. So call now, 1-800-453-1905. That's 1-800-453-1905.
Patrick Division-leading New York Rangers are unbeaten in 7 straight. They're on home ice with a rejuvenated New Jersey Devils team. Let's go to Madison Square Garden, pick it up second period. Rangers come ahead as Kelly Kissio gets his second goal of the game. Kissio puts in the feed from Brian Mullen, and the Rangers jump in front of the Devils 4-3. Elsewhere tonight, Vancouver and Toronto. The Maple Leafs leading the Canucks 1-0. In the second period, Leafs have the worst record in their conference, and Montreal and Detroit matching the leaders from the Adams and Norris divisions, tied at 2 in the third period. Tomorrow night on Sports Channel America, Wayne Gretzky meets his old team when the Kings collide with the Oilers, 10:30 Eastern Time. The NHL slapped Boston coach Terry O'Reilly with a 4-game suspension and a $1,000 fine for instigating an ugly incident at New Jersey last week. O'Reilly verbally abused Devils forward Jim Korn after a 5-1 Boston victory. Korn responded with violence. The two had to be pulled apart by coaches and security. Korn slapped with 2 games and $500, while each club must pay an additional $5,000 for what the league calls an embarrassing altercation. That's the news. We'll send you back to Buffalo, period 3, after this.
Start the new year right with the hot hits of Viewer's Choice. It's Dennis Hopper's controversial film starring Sean Penn and Robert Duvall, the gripping reality of Colors. Somehow the experiment went wrong, horribly wrong. Stop it! Monkey Shines, an experiment in fear. 3 eligible bachelors find the girl of their dreams.
That's a baby. It's a baby.
Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg, and Ted Danson star in 3 Men and a Baby. Look who's back.
In Johnny 5, I'm alive.
In Short Circuit 2.
Give me 5, hombre.
It's the WWF Superstars of Wrestling, live January 15th, the Royal Rumble. Coming in February, Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Belushi star in the sizzling cop story Red Heat. And in the ultimate event, it's Frank Sinatra, Liza Minnelli, and Sammy Davis Jr. in concert. Why rent 'em? We got 'em on Viewer's Choice.
The WWF champion Macho Man Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Bad News Brown, Hercules, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Jake the Snake Roberts, Outlaw Ron Bass, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, the Big Boss Man, plus many other great superstars. It's the Battle of the Bodies in a super pose down. Intercontinental Champion Ultimate Warrior matches bodies with Ravishing Rick Rude, plus a special 6-man tag team match. Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Hart Foundation tangle with Gino Bravo and the fabulous Rougeau brothers. All this plus a women's championship match, a battle for the crown, King Haku to beat Harley Race. Presented live from the Summit in Houston, January 15th, 4 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on pay-per-view. Don't get shut out. Order now. Contact your local cable system for complete details.
Period was certainly dominated by the Soviets. You pointed out the goaltending change, and you pointed out to me during the intermission that we've got two goaltenders in the nets now, both working on shutouts. But certainly the Buffalo goaltending was spectacular. But the goal that the Soviets scored, tie it up. It's a matter of taking the puck away from one of the Sabres.
They sure were. You see, Housley kind of misses it, and here's the little pass in front. And boy, does I think it's number 15, Viakin, Bikov, he just puts it in after a real good pass. But Housley and Turgeon, they weren't strong on the puck, and that was their big goal, to tie it up. And from that point on, the Sabres' confidence level was down, and this was a good save here. I think you'll see Kamensky. Bodger blocks the first one. He goes on the back, and watch the right-hand glove of Pupa. He just reaches up. Luckily, it wasn't higher, but a good save by Pupa to keep it tied. And still, I guess, another good chance, after that, a shot from the point. And there's a little tip here right in front. And you'll see it, just number 10, just tips it up. And Pupa, he's a big goalie, he's down, but he naturally covers more than that than Cloutier. But it was a big period for the Soviets.
Watching those replays, you saw them go to the backhand time and time again on the rebounds. They do that so well. That's one of the arts that the National Hockey League players perhaps will have to work on more.
Yeah, they can go backhand or forehand.
4-4 is the score, and we'll return to the Memorial Auditorium for third period action right after these messages.
If it's happening, I'm there, okay? Foreign films, answering machine for my car phone, okay? Hey, it's goat cheese or no cheese. My beer, so hip, with a twist.
When you're done kidding around, Heineken.
Check me out. All my plastic, gold. I live in the city, but my clothes say safari. My imported beer, ooh, the bigger the better, mate.
Like we said, when you're done kidding around, Heineken.
Hi, I'm Ron Hextall of the Philadelphia Flyers with reason number 27 to enjoy NHL hockey. Great goaltending. Get the action, reaction. Watch NHL hockey.
The National Hockey League is speed, action, and excitement. And you've got a front row seat to this next exciting matchup. Saturday, slick skating Dennis Savard in Chicago take aim on Pat LaFontaine and the Islanders. Then Wayne Gretzky and the Kings battle Kevin Dineen and the Whalers. It's Chicago versus New York and Hartford versus Los Angeles. Beginning at 7 Eastern, 6 Central on Sports Channel America. Saturday.
Jakes McDonald with Scotty Bowman and Gary Thorne here at Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo. You see the huddle developing around the Soviet goal as we get ready for the third period. 4-4 is the score. There's Darren Pupa. Came into the game at the 11-11 mark of the second period. Ildikov replaced Kalashnikov for the start of period number 2 here tonight. During our first intermission, you heard Gary Thorne talking with the executive director of the National Hockey League Players Association, Mr. Alan Eagleson. They talked about the two teams that'll be going to the Soviet Union next fall. And Sports Channel is planning to cover that action for you. You've seen a great series here, the Superpower Series 88-89. We've been happy to bring you the action. And we hope that come the fall, September, when the two teams go to the Soviet Union, to be able to bring you that action as well. The Sports Channel America Friendship Cup on the line as the puck went back to Ramsey. The right side and shot in by Johansson. Starikov with it, back to the Soviet goal. Comes back to the point, Johansson with it. That's one fly, then put high and wide of the net. And Makarov here on the right side, had it knocked loose. Rutu centers the puck. Johansson blew in, but was knocked away from him by Kozchikin. Ramsey back to his own goal, lost the puck. Makarov centers, went off the goalpost. What an opportunity for the Soviets. Nemchikov, who was hurt in the second period, now keeps the puck in for Makarov. To the corner for Kamensky, centers. That went wide of the net. Nemchikov drops it back. Kozchikin, who is the other forward on this line. Kozchikin comes off the boards, gets turned around by Johansson, and the Sabres clear the zone. But again, the Soviets are right there. Makarov is checked. Now Rutu bumped solidly by Fetisov at center ice. Five went back after Fetisov. No love lost between these two teams. Kamensky picks up the puck. Kamensky trying to go around Housley. Now behind the net, he's knocked off the puck. Bill Housley unable to pick it up. Kamensky does. Turned it over to Turgeon. Up along the boards it goes. Solid hitting by Donnelly as he bumped Nikov. Nikov got it back. Here's Kamensky, and he's checked as he went to the front of the net. Buffalo able to clear it out. There's a lot on the line here in this third period with a 4-4 tie. The Soviets over the line. It's broken up by Turgeon. Now Donnelly's pass will off Kasatonov. Intercepted by Bikov in the second effort. Kamensky down the left side. Trying to play it around Housley, and it didn't work. Loose puck. Housley backs it to the boards. Held in by Gusarov. Put it in the corner. Kamensky battling for it. It's picked up by Homatov. Put it out in front, and the player moving in. Bikov was well covered. That long shot kicked aside by Kupa. Picked up by Foligno. Foligno down right wing. Moves it in around Gusarov. The puck knocked loose, goes right to the front of the net and just wide of Bildikov. One thing you'll notice about Bildikov, Scotty, he stays well back in that crease.
Yes, Sabres are making a point, though, of taking the man much more in this start of this third period. They have to because these guys are so slippery.
Now they peel off the boards in the Buffalo zone. The play broken up by Rupp. Chernik got it again. Chernik fires one that's blocked. Here's outside the line. Rupp had a hold of Chernik. Finally, Chernik went down. The Sabres have to chase the puck one more time. 2.5 minutes has ticked on here in the third period. Parker puts the puck in the Soviet zone. Flying it after it was Rupp. At center, and knocked loose, and brought back by Nemchikov. Over center ice. The pass to Zelepukin. Zelepukin cuts to the left side, trying to get around Playfair. He's checked at the last second. Zelepukin recovered neatly, put it in the corner. There'll be a penalty call coming up against Buffalo. Fetisov with a shot. Kicked out by Kupa. Brought back in offside. Makarov complaining. Not happy with that call, but the Soviets go to the power play. The Superpower Series. You're watching it exclusively on Sports Channel. Parker gets an interference penalty. This will be the fourth power play for the Soviets.
It was a 3-on-2 on the right side of the screen as the Soviet tries to go around. There's Parker, pulls down. He came back to make it a 3-on-3, but he pulled the guy down as the Soviet was getting ready to shoot.
Killing it off for Buffalo. Rutu up front along with Arneal. They have Johansson on one side of the defense, Ramsey on the other. Mike Ramsey, of course, very big part of that 1980 U.S. gold medal winning team, a team made of Mike Eruziones, Kenny Morrow, and so many others that come to mind immediately. Now the Soviets move over the line. Starikov put it back to the net. Ramsey slaps it up the boards away from Fetisov. It'll go right to Milnikov. Sergei Milnikov played it off to Sergei Makarov. Here's the captain, stick handling into center ice. Over the line, cuts to the left side. Bikov went to the corner. The pass intercepted and cleared down the ice by Turgeon.
An awfully big lift. The first minute just about gone on this penalty killing. The young Sabre team have to get some confidence. They can get it right now.
Kamensky brings the puck over center ice. Into the Buffalo zone, chased by Foligno. He held it, then turned it over to Mike Foligno, and down the ice it goes. Good checking job. Turgeon and Foligno replaced now by Rupp and Hogue. Coming out is Casatona. Over the line, Bikov played it to Kamensky, took the pass at his skates. Larry Kamensky comes off the boards, leads the blue line to Casatona. Uzerov for the shot, kicked out by Pupa, and the rebound is slapped down the ice by Lindy Rupp. 30 seconds to go, and Parker's interference penalty. Casatona taking the puck, throws it into center ice. Bikov went to the left side. Here's Homatov handling it down. Homatov drops it back. Casatona for the shot. He scores! Power play goal by the defenseman, Alexei Casatona.
Second of the game. He scored late in the first period. As he moved in, he showed a rocket for a shot. He got in the slot area. It was a Soviet on the other side that knocked down a defenseman. I think it was Kamensky on the other side. But watch this here. Right on the left side. We just missed it. But here's the shot coming in from number 6. He's down in the slot area, and they curl around, and finally the pass comes across. It was Biakin that threw it back, I think, and Kasatonov. They put about 3 shots right in the top corner, and he's just circling around. Here's Biakin. He drops the play back, gets Hope pulling away. Not much Halsey and Bodger can do, and he just blows it by Poop in the top corner. 5-4 Soviets.
Kasatonov, as Scotty said, is second in this game. That's 3 now during this tour for the Central Red Army team for defenseman Alexei Kasatona. The Soviets have just iced the puck. The announcement now at Kasatonov's goal as you look at number 11, Bigly Davidov. There's the goal scorer along with Makarov on the bench.
It's amazing, you know, how the defense for this Soviet Union continually get in, and they make it so difficult to get in from the standpoint of the Sabres. Johansson had a pretty good chance. All of a sudden, the forward was there to tip it away. So that's been the big difference, the ability of guys like Fetisov and Kasatonov to get in there and really create scoring chances.
Bikov gets an assist with Homatov on Kasatonov's goal. 5-4, the Soviet Central Red Army team leading the Buffalo Sabres. Ron Finn in a discussion before the puck is dropped. Jernick was complaining about something, and now the Sabres go back in the book of the Soviet goal. They wrap up Jernick. Metcalf is in the forecheck. The puck goes to Shepard. Ray Shepard hooked it out in front. Buffalo player there. Metcalf was pretty well covered, and here's Zalapukin down the left side. He's picked up by Ramsey, then dropped it off, and the shot by Konstantinov is turned aside. Comes back to Malakov. His shot is blocked. Held it in, however, putting it in the corner. Scott Metcalf gets checked. Moving in is Anderson, tying up Zalapukin. Frank Ramsey plays it up the boards. Soviets hold it in and then turn it over, and Ramsey plays it out on the right side to Shepard. Shepard across the line, pulled up on Konstantinov. Shot it around behind the net. Yemchinov. Makarov, back to Malakov. Carries it to center. Shepard knocked it off the stick there. He gets loose. One-on-one with the goalkeeper. And he scores!
Ray Shepard, 38 goals as a rookie a year ago. Not doing it this year, but shows how he can put the puck in the net. A turnover. That was the play. Makarov to the defenseman. He lost the puck right here. I think it was Bacalov that lost it, and he goes in. First, it looks like he's hesitating. He goes to his forehand and is able to put it right under the pad of the goaltender, Milnikov. And here's the turnover by number 7. Boy, Malakov, he lost it. Here's Shepard now. The goal scorer comes in. He's thinking, take him out, and he did. Go to his forehand, throws it under him. 5-5.
Shepard unassisted at the 6:03 mark. First Buffalo goal in this game since 1546 of the opening period when the Sabres had taken a 4-1 lead. Now Makarov is knocked down by Rutu. Playfair dumps it into the Soviet zone. That's the Tisov. Rutu gets to him immediately. The puck goes off 5 to Rutu. Turns at the Soviet line. Is picked up on the play now as he goes to the corner. Koschekin all over him. Rutu managed to center it. Playfair got it onto the stick of Arneal. It's shot off the shoulder of Bildnikov. Loose puck. They backhand one off the side of the net. The Tisov dumps it around behind the goal. There will be a penalty for holding. A holding call will set up the Buffalo power play. You're watching the Super Power Series on Sports Channel America.
One of the sweetest memories I have is of going to the movies with you, Dad.
Oh, those were the days.
Oh, they were classics. Hollywood classics.
Hollywood casts?
They're still around. Where? Cable TV.
Cable TV? Mm-hmm. American movie classics. Just movies?
Great movies.
Movies like they used to be.
Classics.
American movie classics. Movies that last a lifetime. Call your cable company today.
Calle Johansson's the Sabre right in the middle of the screen. He's the decoy, but Scott Arneal, number 9, he gets this shot. He puts it high and hits the shoulder of the goaltender, and finally the penalty for Nemchov.
It's called at 6:41 of this third period. It's only the second power play opportunity that Buffalo has had tonight. Nazarov throws the puck against the boards. They'll face it off in the circle to the left of Sergei Bildnikov.
Sabres change Housley and Bodger. Housley and Bodger play together, but on the power play, Housley goes on left defense. He tries to put that soft pass across. Bodger can shoot on the pass.
Now following the draw, Asatonov is able to shoot at the length of the ice. Aaron Puppa leaves it for Phil Housley. Omatov chased him back to the net. Housley pulls away, comes over center ice, cuts to the right across the Soviet blue line, and on the brakes, then dumped it in. Kucherov going after it. Vine gets to the puck. Got it to Turgeon. He couldn't find Rutu as he moved out of the corner. Comes back to Bodger. Over to Housley. Housley tees it up, centers it back, and it's tipped outside the line by Homatov. Bodger now to Vine. Right side for Turgeon. Kucherov picks him up. Turgeon trying to complete the play. Centered. It's broken up in front, then turned over off Housley to Vine. Vine runs into the check of Homatov. The puck comes outside the line. Bakov plays it to the right wing. Here's Homatov. Cuts to the left to Bakov. He couldn't pick it up. Rick Vine had it knocked off his stick, but Bodger was right there. 50 seconds left in the Buffalo power play. The game tied 5-5. 12 minutes left in the third period. Rutu puts it back in the net. And it's slapped out of there into the center ice zone by Bakov. Homatov picks it up for Telepukin, and he's checked. And Waho comes into the open wing. But after it, Konstantinov picks it up. Steps over the Buffalo line with a quick shot into the pads of Puppa. He left it for Johansson. Sabres start out on the power play. Shepard, who tied the game, has put it high over the glass and up into the seats. 11 minutes and 38 seconds left in the third period.
Really weren't able to generate much. Housley had the best chance. They were guilty of not shooting the puck. That one pass too many, and the Soviets so dangerous on this shorthanded situation. I think it takes away from your offensive defenseman.
We put it to you again. You, our Sports Channel America audience tonight. Would you like to see the Stanley Cup champs play a European champion and declare a world title each year? 75 cents to vote, either yes or no. You see the numbers on your screen. Remember, there is a 75 cents per call charge. We want your opinion on whether you would like to see the Stanley Cup champs and the team from probably the Soviet Union decide a world title each year. Chernik in after a puck in his own zone. Shepard got it back in the net to Foligno. The teams are at 6 aside again. Mike Ramsey dumps one behind the net. Ramsey in after. Chernik had a hold of his stick. Now the puck is cleared down the ice. And Wahoe will chase it. Lupa out of the net. Leads it for Hogue. Makarov went into forecheck. The pass to Foligno. Plays it up the right wing. Now to Hogue. Comes over the line with Shepard. Hogue gets double teamed. Knocked the puck behind the net. Starikov plays it to the right wing side. And the Sabres had an opportunity there, but it hit Hogue. Now comes to the right side as Jekin leaves the puck. Starikov played it to Petizan. Just turned it over in the center ice area. Lindy Ruff has just come out on a player change, lost it. Yechinov across the line, dropped it. A Karov shot steered off the stick of the goalkeeper and up into the seats. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching the Superpower Face-Off series on Sports Channel America.
Imagine a whole channel devoted to movies. Wall Street. Throw Mama from the Train. Death Wish 4. Missing in Action 3. Something Wild. Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll. Harry and the Hendersons. Deliverance. Dancers. Top Gun. All this and much more in January on the Movie Channel. Imagine a whole channel devoted to movies. The Movie Channel.
With Scotty Bowman and Gary Thorne, I'm Chicks McDonald at Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo. The score is tied 5-5. 10 minutes, 28 seconds remaining in the third period of this, the final game of the Superpower Series, 88-89. Kamensky on the left side, Bikoff in the middle, Almatov on right wing for the Soviets. Ruff dumps it in for Buffalo. Went around the boards, got away from Priestley. Kamensky comes up the wing. He gets checked at that point. Loose puck, Bikoff over the line. Can't get it to Homatov, who is wide open now. Homatov for the shot. Blocked and covered by Pupa. Boy, Homatov just floats in out of nowhere. Nobody picked him up, Scotty. He's wide open.
Looked like Playfair was going to get to the loose puck. He lost it, and finally the forwards came across from the other side. Like you mentioned, Homatov came right across. And Playfair had this puck all the way. It was his puck, and that extra effort by the Soviet might have put him off stride, and finally it came across. And a good scoring chance, and Pupa again looking very sharp in the nets for Buffalo.
32-19 are the shots on goal. Favor of the Soviet Union. They beat the Hartford Whalers on Saturday night, outshot them 29-17 in a 6-3 victory. Central Red Army has outscored the NHL, including tonight's game, 31-22. The Dinamo Riga won only twice, and here's a chance for the Soviets, denied, and 5 starts up. Playing the puck, the blue line. Housley moves it up the wing off 5 stick. 5 has one of the Buffalo goals. He goes into forecheck, tying up Gosarov. Rick 5 gets some help now as Rutu played it around the boards, but here's Homatov with it. Andrei Homatov went to the left side and played it right back in front of the net. We look at one another up here. You don't expect to see that. And they turn it over. 5 with a backhander that's blocked at the defense. Rick 5 nudges it into Arneal. Goes back to the net to Rutu. Rutu can't find anybody open. Nobody goes to Rutu. Now as they move in, the man taken down is Bodger. There'll be a penalty to the Soviets. Rutu puts it in the corner. Bodger picks it up to Arneal. Scott Arneal is checked on the boards, and play is called. There'll be a hooking penalty to the Soviets coming up. Another power play. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching the Superpower Face-Off series on Sports Channel America.
Up. Way up. That's what's been happening to cable viewership. At the same time, guess what's happened to network viewership? And the majority of those lost network ratings have gone directly to cable. Over 120 million viewers have found cable, and there's a simple way for advertisers to find them. Plug into the power of cable. America is cable ready.
Homatov in the penalty box for holding at 10:51.
Well, Chernik is the defenseman in front for the Soviets, but Bodger makes it possible. He's doing what the Soviets do well. He came right from his left defense post about 5 feet in front, had to be pulled down.
Third power play of the game for the Buffalo Sabres. They do have a power play goal. That's by 5. 5 is not on the ice at the moment. Turgeon, Shepard, and Foligno up front as Roger brings the puck in. Chernik steps in front of Foligno, and Telepukin goes back for it. They got tied up by Turgeon. They play it around the boards, but right to Housley. Pulling to the right side to Bodger. One times it, that one high and wide. Now Polino dumps it in. Turgeon turning, picked him up as he centered it. Shepard got checked, then recovered in time to put it in the corner. Valatov fires it around the boards and out to center ice. Bodger leads Housley. And Selebukin forechecking for the Soviets as Bodger takes it in the corner. Now to Turgeon. He comes over center ice. Across the Central Red Army blue line. The puck knocked away from him. The Emchigov able to clear it out. Coming backward is Johansson. 1 minute left in the penalty. Housley is over the line. Housley pulls up on the check. Pulls it, dumps it in deeper out of the reach of Johansson. Shepard can't get to it, but Tisov trying to poke it away from Ruff does, and dumps it out to center ice, but Johansson is back. He's giving it to Sean Anderson. Anderson had a little trouble handling it, and now Johansson plays it up the board. Oh, what a thumping check as Ruff leveled the Emchigov. Meantime, Starikov back with a pass to Makarov. Makarov checked by Lindy Ruff. Back to Hogue. He gives it to Parker for a shot that went wide. Jeff Parker turns in the corner. Dropped it back. Anderson shot to a screen. And what a stop by Milnicott. Benoit Hogue puts it in the corner. Here's Ruff. Works it behind the net for Anderson. To Parker. He gets checked. Starikov plays it around the board. Held in by Johansson. 8 seconds in the power play. That shot blocked. Parker beats the blue line. Anderson works it in deep. Goes off the glass and over into the seats. 1 second remaining in the penalty against Omatov. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the National Hockey League and is intended for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Hockey League and Sports Channel America is prohibited.
Well, Makarov was guilty of a good turnover for the Sabres. Looked like he was going to get it down. They kept it in. A pretty good scoring chance, but the Sabres defense have not elected to really shoot that puck as hard as they can. Sean Anderson had the good chance just up from Rochester, but it was tipped over the glass.
Now Priestley on this face-off. Won by the Soviets. Kucherov playing it around to Kamensky. Kamensky across the line. The puck knocked away from him. In skates again, and he shot one that was blocked by Johansson. Now out in front, and struck wide off the stick of Bikov. Comes back to Kasatonov for the drive. That's tipped and went wide. Ray Shepard picks it up, starts up for Buffalo. Shepard dumps it in. Scott Metcalf chasing it. Kasatonov got to it. He's giving it to Kamensky. Kamensky drops it back into the skates of Bikov. Gets over the Buffalo line. Fires one up high. Chest saved by Pupa. Laid the puck to the right side for Shepard. Down to Metcalf. Metcalf flipped it between the defense. Kasatonov got back neatly. Akov taken into the boards by Priestley at center ice. Moving up with it is Bill Housley. 4 Soviets string out at the blue line. Housley does the smart thing, turns back with the puck. His teammates completed the player change, and now Bodger dumps it in, and 5 races in after it. Rick 5 around Malakoff. 5 centers off the skates of Rutu. Picks it up now. Rutu can't get it out in front, and Bikov was with him all the way. Vyacheslav Bikov cleared the zone. Anderson's effort to put it back in ends up in the penalty box. A little less than 6 minutes to play in the 3rd period. You're watching the Superpower Series exclusively on Sports Channel.
Introducing a completely different Mercury Cougar.
Take my breath away.
Introducing pulse-quickening comfort. The all-new Cougar from Mercury, where comfort and control are one.
Scotty Bowman joining Jakes McDonald and Gary Thorne here. Scotty, what was the first year that you took a team that you coached into a game against the Soviets?
1956 in Ottawa, great junior team. We thought we really had the rink tilted in our favor. We lost 10-1.
You're kidding. 56?
1956.
I remember seeing them, I think it was 59 in Kitchener with the KW Dutchman years ago.
Well, we started playing hockey in the mid-40s.
That's true. And they have come a long way. They've picked up so much of the North American style, incorporated some of their own things that the National Hockey League players and teams have tried to incorporate as well. I think right now the big thing that impresses everybody is the speed, the puck control, and the fact that they're starting to get some goaltending again. After Tretiak retired, there was a real void. But we've seen the young man, Ribe, with Dinamo Riga. Milnikov has been very steady, not only here tonight, but throughout most of this series. We're down to 5 minutes remaining in the third period. The score is tied at 5. Remember, if it ends in a tie, the Soviets would win the Sports Channel America Friendship Cup. Foligno over the line with a shot. Stick saved by Milnikov. Emptied up. Can't clear it out of the zone. Foligno moved it to Turgeon. Into the corner it goes. Off the stick of Donnelly. Turgeon pinched it off the boards, but the Soviet defenseman Starikov is able to clear it out. So the Sabres pick it up and start it again. Donnelly works it in on the boards. Starikov plays it around to Bikov. Bikov with a pass to Yemchinov. He gets checked at the center ice stripe. Here's Bodger to Turgeon. Turgeon backhands one in, knocked out of the air by Starikov. Sergei Starikov waiting for his teammates to complete a player change, and Bikov got knocked down. Meantime, Kamensky puts the puck in the Buffalo zone. Kamensky knocked down after the play, got up looking at the Buffalo players if he was going to go right after him. Did not. Bikov centers it in front. Now Kamensky in after him. He's taken off the puck by Anderson's check. Mike Ramsey plays it out into center ice. Lindy Ruff gets to it there. His pass is tipped away from Hogue. Brought over the line by Homaton. Dropped it back. Here's Kasatonov moving right in. Kasatonov can't get it by Kupa. Kasatonov going for his third of the night. The big Soviet defenseman is denied. Housley from back of the goal. Got it through center ice. They rule that Gusarov could have played it. Now back he goes. Alapukin has just come out on a player change. Goes to the left side. A pass right on his stick as he picked it up from Chernik. Shot it wide and Pupa. Aaron Pupa checked. Now the puck deflected up into the seats. And there's no further play. 3 minutes and 12 seconds left in regulation. You're watching the Superpower Series exclusively on Sports Channel America.
The following message is brought to you by Sports Channel America.
I'm John McClain. As the NHL competes with the Soviets in the NHL Super Series, we're reminded of the earthquake that devastated Soviet Armenia. The American Red Cross International Disaster Relief Fund has a special 800 number you can call. Your contribution goes toward providing relief for the hundreds of thousands left homeless. Please call 1-800-453-9000 or send your contribution to the address on the screen. Thank you.
Getting ready for a face-off in the Buffalo end of the ice. 5-5 is the score. That's Davidoff that you had a look at. He's playing over on the left side. Chernik will take the face-off. Alapukin is on right wing, but Buffalo comes up with the draw. This is Housley working from back of the net, giving it to Doug Bodger. Bodger acquired this season from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Dumps it in. Connor Neal goes in after it. Malikov could not get to the puck. Here's Rutu. His shot held by the goaltender Milnikov after making a glove save. Taken down in the goal mouth area was Rick Vaive. Sergei Milnikov played all the games for the Soviets in the Winter Olympics at Calgary. Rick Vaive started his career Toronto, moved on, been in Chicago, and then of course acquired by Buffalo last week. There's Milnikov. The big guy tonight, though, has been the defenseman Kasatonov, who has scored twice. The 29-year-old, Fetisov's best friend, and been his defense partner. He used to say that he didn't play as well when he wasn't teamed with Fetisov, but they haven't been together all night long, and he has scored 2 goals. Kasatonov, another player drafted by the New Jersey Devils in 1983. He has a wife and a son. And we'll talk hockey by the hour with an interpreter. You may remember that he wore number 7 at Calgary. Wears number 6 regularly for Central Red Army. Makarov fed the puck up. Yemchinov with the pass is blocked. Over the line comes Starikov. Pulls up on Rutu. Centers one. Is grabbed and held by Pupa. And 2 men right in front of the net. Makarov on one side, Yemchinov on another. And there was Pupa reaching out for that catching glove. Pupa out of RPI came up with a big save earlier in the game. It was Kluche who was in the nets for a couple of great stops for the Sabres. They They've been outshot 35 to 22 tonight. We're down to 2 minutes and 32 seconds remaining in regulation time. Pierre Turgeon will take the face-off for Buffalo as Coach Ted Sater sets up Foligno as well. The other forward is Donnelly. The Emchadovs entering the puck following the draw came right back to him. The Emchadov trying to put it in front of the net. That hit the goal. Mike Ramsey moves it up the boards, and Donnelly dumps it out into center ice. Fetisov goes back. He and Starikov together as they've been all night long. Now Makarov picks up the puck. Makarov trying to cut in off left wing. It's in deep. Centers it from the back of the net. That's steered aside by Pupa. Fetisov taken to the boards. The Sabres moving around on the left side. Johansson getting it to Donnelly, and he clears the zone. Makarov has to go back. Makarov with less than 2 minutes to go. Up and up through center ice. Bodger fell, but was able to recover in time to clear it just under the reach of Kamietzki. Now Makarov and Kamietzki come in together. The play broken up by Bodger. He's given it to Housley. Housley trying to outskate Kamietzki. Pulls away from him. Comes over center and dumps it in. It goes wide of the net. Fetisov plays it to the left side for Kamietzki. Kamietzki. Pass intercepted by Bodger. Now brought right back out again. Kamietzki checked by Ruff. Andy Ruff into the zone. Right side to Parker. Parker trying to get around Fetisov as they go to the corner. Now Bakov plays it up the board. A player change. Ramsey comes in, slams into Homatov, but the puck ends up at center. Ruff moves it to Parker, and again Buffalo content to put it in the Soviet zone and now make a player change. Gusarov with the pass off Chernyk's stick. Ryan knocked it out of the air. Pokes at it again. It goes to Gusarov. Gusarov plays it to center. A two-line pass offside. Would you believe that? As Davidoff picked it up on his own side of center ice. Scotty, we're down to the final 50 seconds of this third period. Still tied at 5.
Yes, we know we're going into overtime if a goal isn't scored, and of course...
Do you believe what you just saw on your monitor, Scotty? Did you see that
a timeout.
A timeout?
It doesn't take them long to really get our rules down pat.
Oh, they've got this game figured out all right. That's Alexander Chernyk going back to the Soviet bench. So the discussion now between Tikhonov and Mikhailov. Now you look at this team that the Sabres have done battle with tonight, and think to yourself that this team would be comparable, I guess, Scotty, to the Edmonton Oilers if they were to win the league championship 12 consecutive years, or the Montreal Canadiens of your era. 12 consecutive years this Central Red Army team has led all of Soviet hockey. Amazing.
Well, I think, Jake, the loss in 1980 to the U.S. team was one loss in 28 years, 7 Olympic seasons. So that pretty well tells you about this team.
Now they are going to send out a forward line of Chernyk, Davidoff, and Zalapukin. We have not seen much of Larry Arnott here in the third period. Scotty pointed out that he passed up several good shooting opportunities only to move the puck to somebody else. I kind of think maybe he's hurting. He's the smartest player on the team and the smallest as well. Great playmaker, but he's had back problems recently. The puck is cleared high off the glass into the penalty box. 43 seconds remaining in the third period. Let's take a look at the Friendship Cup. It's provided by Sports Channel America. Scotty Bowman has left the broadcast booth. He'll be on hand for the presentation either to the Soviets or to the National Hockey League. And the recipients on behalf of the league would be the Buffalo Sabres. But Buffalo needs to score a goal. That's the only way the NHL can win it now, is to beat the Soviets in this game. If it ends in a tie in overtime, then the Soviets would win. Or, of course, if the Soviets score, then it's automatic. Frank Ramsey brings the puck into center ice. Shoots it around the boards. Rutu goes in after. Got taken down by Chernyk. Play allowed to continue. And up the ice comes Zalapukin. Over the Buffalo line. Comes to the left side. His pass off the stick. Unable to handle it was Davidoff. And Buffalo dumps it into the Soviet zone. Konstantinov just did get it to Starikov. Marikoff at center ice moves it on into the zone offside with 6 seconds left. So it appears that we will go to overtime in this, the final game of the Superpower Series 1988-89. In this series, Central Red Army came in tonight with a 4-1-1 record. They had an opening night tie in Quebec and beat the New York Islanders. They have victories over the Islanders, Boston, New Jersey, and Hartford. Their only loss was at Pittsburgh. And Dinamo Riga, of course, defeated. They started with a tie at Calgary, then were defeated the next night by Edmonton. Vancouver beat them. Dinamo Riga recovered to beat Los Angeles. And they have not been able to win since. And there's the horn ending the third period. Each team with a goal. Sergei Milnikov, who came on at the start of the second period, allows only one goal, and that's the one that ties it at 5. And that was almost 14 minutes ago when Shepard scored. The shots on goal in that third period by touring Soviet Red Army team, 11. They've had 35 thus far. The Buffalo Sabres had 7 shots on goal in the third period, a total of 22. Kasatonov scored a power play goal from Komatov and Bakov at 4:52. Kasatonov second of this game, third of the series. The Soviets led 5-4, but at 6:03, Shepard stole the puck at the Soviet blue line, went in all alone to beat Milnikov and tied at 5-5. Since then, Buffalo has had 2 power play opportunities, but haven't been able to cash anything in. They're 1 for 3 with the man advantage tonight. And we're getting ready to go to overtime beside the Sports Channel America Friendship Cup. We hope you've enjoyed the action wherever you're tuned in. Remind you that Sports Channel is hoping to be able to bring you, planning to be able to bring you coverage of the 2 National Hockey League teams who will go to the Soviet Union during training camp next September. And one of the interesting things that has developed in the last few days is Edmonton defenseman Kevin Lowe. With all the discussion about Fetisov coming to the National Hockey League, Kevin Lowe has publicly said that he would like to be the first athlete from North America to play over there. He says it's not a gimmick. I quote him now. He said, "I'd like to go out of curiosity of their politics, their society, their lifestyle. I've heard people say I'm crazy. I think it would be an 8 to 10 month commitment out of my life, but I've paid a lot of commitments to the game to be the best player I possibly could be. I wouldn't want to be at the end of my career when I did it. I'd want to be competitive, and I would like to go and play in the Soviet Union." Kevin Lowe of the Edmonton Oilers. Well, we've seen so many things happen between the United States and the Soviet Union and Canada, all of North America, really, and the relationships with the Soviets in the past few years. And certainly, the Soviets, I think, could find a place on their team for a Kevin Lowe, as could the New Jersey Devils for a Fetisov, Kasatonov. Vancouver hoping to have Larionov. Buffalo certainly would like to have Mogilny. Kamensky would be welcome in Quebec. So many teams in the National Hockey League now drafting Soviet players. And we're ready for overtime. If Buffalo scores, the National Hockey League receives that trophy. If nobody scores, or if the Soviets score, then the trophy goes to Moscow with the Central Red Army squad. Fetisov handling the puck following the face-off to Makarov. Comes in over the line. It's knocked away from him and picked up by Housley. He rounds the Buffalo net. Housley dumps it out through center ice. Turgeon races into the Soviet zone to get a stick on it, then played it wide. Niemchinov is back. He's bumped solidly by Donnelly. Here's Foligno trying to get it out in front of the net. Here to the side by Fetisov. Niemchinov with it again. Sergei Niemchinov to Fetisov. And solidly by Turgeon's check. Turgeon with a shot. Scooped up and held by Milnikov. Drops it for Makarov. Up the far side, it went off Koschekin's stick. Held in by Housley to the corner for Ruff. Lindy Ruff put it to the side of the net. Taken there by Fetisov. One of the Soviets now without a helmet. Into the center ice he comes. It's Koschekin. Checked at the Buffalo line. Roger pokes it out to center ice. Bikov picks it up. 1 minute is gone in overtime. Bikov. He's been the leading scorer in this series for the Soviets. Now to Kamensky. Dumps it toward the corner. Sabres moving up along the boards. Back forward is Kasatonov. To Bikov. Oh, knocked it off his stick. Kamensky gets checked. The puck comes back to Kasatonov, who shot it in. Ramsey with it now. Ramsey had it Go off the stick, and it's cleared outside the line. Ekhoff waited, then gave it away. Down the near side comes Parker. Shoots one from the blue line that missed the net. Parker after his own rebound. Unloaded. That hit Guzarov. Guzarov gets up slowly after taking the force of the shot off the ankle. Housley back in his own zone with the pass to Ramsey. Off Gubyenski. Housley met him, knocking him off balance. Ekhoff shoots it in around the boards. It got away from Pupa. This is Metcalf now for Buffalo. Scott Metcalf. Long pass intercepted at center ice. Davidoff over the line. Telepukin trailing. Davidoff can't get out of the corner. Metcalf picks it up. Metcalf trying to flip it up. Velikov knocked it down, and Housley rushes the puck. The Soviets get two men back. Housley over the line, cuts in, went to the forehand, and chipped it just wide. Now centers. Presley scores! Priestley! Buffalo defeats the Central Red Army in overtime, 6-5. It's only the second loss for the Soviets in this series, and look at the celebration going on at War Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo. Ken Sater being congratulated by Alan Eagleson. There's a scene so similar to 1972. How many of us remember the goal scored by Paul Henderson of the Soviet Union? And now here in Buffalo, on the 9th of January, 1989, the Sabres scored in overtime, and the rookie just called up from Rochester, Priestley, gets the goal, and the National Hockey League will win the Friendship Cup. Let's take another look at it. Here's the way the play developed in the Soviet end of the ice. All of a sudden, or I should say in the Buffalo end of the ice, all of a sudden they move in on the right side. This is Housley trying to go to the forehand, missed. And he's able to play the puck back. It comes right out in front, and Priestley, Ken Priestley, gets the goal. 2 minutes and 20 seconds into sudden death overtime. You see the handshake, and let's see again how the National Hockey League took the Friendship Cup away from the Soviets. All they needed was a tie. But this play by Housley, the puck goes wide. Milnikov down, it comes back in the net. Went to the left. Milnikov seemed to react late. And Priestley beats him. And look at that reaction. And the celebration was underway. Here it is again. Housley. He pokes it back to the other side out in front. And there is Priestley. And the National Hockey League has defeated, or I should say the Buffalo Sabres has defeated the Soviet Union Central Red Army team 6-5 in overtime. And as a result, because of goals, while the series is 6-1 and a tie, the National Hockey League teams scored 46 goals. The Soviets scored 43 goals. So the difference is in goals again as the Superpower Series ends in overtime with Buffalo winning 6-5 and the NHL winning the Sports Channel America Friendship Cup. If you've just called somebody to come see the goal by Priestley in overtime, they're going to get another opportunity as we crank it back. Here's what happened. We pick it up with Housley making the play. Konstantinov was the defenseman backing in on him. And he's forced behind the net. Lays it back out. And all alone, Ken Priestley, Milnikov reacts, but the puck is by him. And Priestley, as I said earlier, just called up from Rochester of the American Hockey League, gets the big goal. Scotty, that's got to be a thrill. I mentioned earlier the goal that goes back to 1972 when Paul Henderson got something very, very big for the National Hockey League at that point. Priestley will have this memory to cherish for a lifetime.
Yes, Jiggs, but a great play by Phil Housley coming out of his own end, and he went for the juggler. He nearly got in himself, and he was able to get the puck in the backboards and put it out in front. It hit a Soviet defenseman, and Priestley, pretty good goal scorer, just up here from Rochester, ends this thing in the favor of the National Hockey League. And I think from the standpoint of the Buffalo Sabres, could be a building block for them because they've had a lot of heartbreak losses lately, but this one they'll cherish, knowing that they represented the National Hockey League in winning this big game.
Oh, indeed they will. I know the New York Islanders, even though they lost to the Central Red Army team by a goal, felt that it was a confidence builder for their team, and certainly it'll be the same for the Buffalo Sabres. We'll return to Memorial Auditorium. The trophy presentation is still to come, and a whole lot more. Don't go away. You're watching the Superpower Face-Off Series exclusively on Sports Channel America.
Here it comes, the slammin', jammin', rip-roaring, good-time video, the NBA's dazzling dunks and basketball bloopers. It's all new fun and excitement, and the only way to get it is free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. See your heroes fly through the air with the greatest of ease and land just about anywhere they please. See them jump and jam, slip, slide, and slam. See them dance and dive as they try to keep it alive. For 45 minutes of all the right stuff, they'll give it a whirl and give it a heave. And if you hang around long enough, you'll see things you won't believe. Of course, sometimes they miss, and often they fall. But we'll let you be the judge of who's the greatest of all. You'll get lots of laughs and quite a bit more as all your favorites take the floor. Believe me, you can look high and low, but you won't find a more fantastic show. So call this toll-free number now to get the sensational video that reaches new heights in entertainment. The NBA's dazzling dunks and basketball bloopers, free from Sports Illustrated. And by calling now, not only will you get all the thrills and spills of your free video, you won't miss out on the exciting 25th anniversary edition of the famous swimsuit issue, featuring a bright and sunny look at the smiles and suits of the past 25 years in an issue devoted entirely to swimwear. Then the Boys of Summer swing along in SI's big baseball preview issue. You'll get all that and save almost 50% off the cover price. 25 issues payable in 3 monthly installments of only $9.89 each. And you can charge it if you want. Take advantage of the savings. Don't let anyone get the jump on you. Get it all first. The NBA's dazzling dunks and basketball bloopers, the anniversary edition of the swimsuit issue, the big baseball preview, and enjoy all the great color and excitement of Sports Illustrated every week by calling this toll-free number now. 1-800-242-1800. 1-800-242-1800. The video is rated F for free.
Stand by. Back at Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, New York, the Sabres, who had lost 4 straight games in the National Hockey League until Saturday night when they beat Toronto, have joined the Pittsburgh Penguins in handing the Soviet Central Red Army team a loss in this tour, and as a result, are the winners of the Sports Channel America Friendship Cup. Our Gary Thorne and Scotty Bowman are standing by for the presentation. Let's join them. Gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Jigsy. Well, as a result of it, the series ends up 6-6-2. So they go to the tiebreaker, and that's total goals. And that goes to the National Hockey League. In this one, 47-43. They had the better of it in goals, and that means that the Sports Channel America Friendship Cup is going to go to the National Hockey League, and Scotty Bowman will make the presentation. Scotty?
Well, Lindy, on behalf of Sports Channel America, it's the first ever Sports Channel America Friendship Cup, and it goes to the winner of the National Hockey League Soviet Series, and a trophy for sportsmanship, competition, and fair play. And you're the captain of the Buffalo Sabres. Your team did it. Congratulations to you and your teammates. And this is another one for the National Hockey League. Congratulations, Lindy.
Thanks, Scotty. On behalf of the players and the rest of the NHL, I guess it just doesn't get any better than this.
Well, it's a building block for you, and the National Hockey League is sure proud.
Thank you very much.
All right, there you go. There's the presentation. Lindy Ruff coming in from the Buffalo Sabres to receive it. Outstanding series concluding here in Buffalo. And as Jig said, only 2 teams came away with victories in it, and that was Pittsburgh and these Buffalo Sabres. And this one ends up being in overtime. Jigsy, just a magnificent hockey game. We will be back to wrap it up from the Odd in Buffalo right after this.
Want inside information on football?
I've been reading the sporting news for 12 years now, and when it comes to inside information, this is the next best thing to a coach's meeting. The sporting news, more football facts and stats than any other sports weekly.
Call 1-800-453-1905 and get 50 issues of the sporting news for 4 easy payments of just $7.47. Call now, 1-800-453-1905. That's 1-800-453-1905.
The following message is brought to you by Sports Channel America.
I'm John McClain. As the NHL competes with the Soviets in the NHL Super Series, we're reminded of the earthquake that devastated Soviet Armenia. The American Red Cross International Disaster Relief Fund has a special 800 number you can call. Your contribution goes toward providing relief for the hundreds of thousands left homeless. Please call 1-800-453-9000 or send your contribution to the address on the screen. Thank you.
Gretzky,
And they score with 2 seconds left.
Lemieux, Burke,
Shot, save, Burke.
LaFontaine, Deneen,
Fires in front, they score!
Hextall, Savard. Every hit, every shot, every save. With more games than ever before, watch the NHL's brightest stars shine. The National Hockey League is speed, action, and excitement. And you've got a front row seat to this next exciting matchup. Saturday afternoon in a Patrick Division matchup, the battle for the top spot continues. The magnificent Mario Lemieux and the Penguins collide with the Rangers and rookie hotshot Tony Granato. It's the New York Rangers versus Pittsburgh. Live at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central on Sports Channel America, Saturday.
Back here at the Odd with the overtime victory picked up by the Buffalo Sabres as they win at 6-5. Scotty, an opportunity maybe to tell our American and Canadian audiences a bit about the Soviet League. One of the reasons there may be a problem in getting some of the Soviet players here is that they have only played one half of their season. 14 teams in a league that's in their 43rd season. They now go into the second half where the top 10 of the 14 go into a round-robin playoff. That's what they'll do when they get back home. So you can bet that's one reason why the Soviet coaches don't want to give up any people at this point.
Yes, and they never had a playoff till a couple of years ago, Gary, but they used to wait until the World Championships were completed, everything stopped, and then they'd resume it. They're getting more North American in their ideas about running hockey. Soviet hockey has had a downer for the last 2 or 3 years in their league, and these are very important games for them, as well as their trip next year when all 21 NHL teams will participate in this series.
You have seen this series now progress along through the years. The one thing maybe that the Soviet players and the NHL players talk about most is the Soviets are willing to play the body now a lot more than they were when these series started.
Yes, they weren't used to it, of course, and we saw real pure hockey, I think, in the series, and I think that's the big thing as far as hockey is concerned, that, you know, it was a fiercely contested game tonight, but I was amazed that the Sabres really came back into this one in the second period, but I think when you look at the way the Sabres won it, they sort of won it with a little bit of the style that the Soviets have really demonstrated, because we had so much difficulty in many early series for defensemen getting involved in the attack because we were so fearful of the Soviet attack. But Phil Housley proved the value of an offensive defenseman with an end-to-end rush after stopping the puck in his own end, and he made a great play and threw it out in front, and the rookie Priestley put it in. But I think when you look at it, we're getting more involved with our defensemen, and that's something the Soviets, well, Kasatonov scored 2 tonight for them, and that's, I think, the big difference for us. Our defensemen are now willing to go on the attack.
Scotty, the other thing is we heard a little bit when it started, would the National Hockey League players really want to play these games? It comes in the middle, directly in the middle of the season for them. Some of them said, well, we'd rather really have the rest. But I dare say in every one of these games, the competitiveness of the athlete, as happened tonight, comes to the forefront.
Well, yes, your mind plays tricks with you, but when you get the jersey on and you're representing your team, you're representing the National Hockey League, that's blocked out of your mind. You're putting in a good 60 minutes. Tonight it was a little more than that in overtime. So, yes, I think the pride factor is there. And ongoing since 1972, we've had all kinds of different formats, yet it usually comes down, and tonight into overtime. It's hard to believe how this series is put together, and it comes down to the last possible minute until a goal is scored.
What do you think of the development now next season? We were talking with Alan Eagleson at our first intermission. It's going to be all 21 National Hockey League teams involved in a game against 1 or 2 Soviet teams. Is that the way it should be going from your perspective?
Well, I think so. It'd be awful difficult to put the onus on the NHL teams and put the points on the board for the winning team, because you're not going to have just one Soviet team playing 21 teams. And I think this format has proved that the competition is there. It's not as if the games, every rink that I've seen games in, we've seen them on television, we've had real great games. I mean, you're talking 14 games, and, you know, you have to give credit to the Soviets. You're coming over with 2 teams. They're playing in 14 different arenas, and it comes down to the last game.
All right, and how about that last goal, Jigsy? Let's take a look at it.
It was a thing of beauty for the Buffalo Sabres and, of course, for the National Hockey League as they win the Sports Channel America Friendship Cup. And as Scotty Bowman pointed out, it was a defenseman moving in on the play, in this case, Phil Housley. Coming down the right side, the Soviet defenseman, Konstantinov, trying to get back. Housley chipped one toward the net that missed. And here it comes. Out in front. Priestley was not picked up. The rookie just up from Rochester. Left-hand shot. Milnikov reacts a little late. And Housley, after taking the original pass from Metcalf, sets up number 56, Ken Priestley. And that's the winning goal in the way the National Hockey League and the Buffalo Sabres ended it tonight in overtime. Here's the play developing, Scotty, coming out of the Buffalo end of the ice.
Well, Housley's the one that knocks it down, and with that jump that he has, he can really accelerate. He's the one that, on a poor clearing play by a teammate, he's able to recover. And right now, though, he takes the good gamble. He goes to the net with the puck. Things might happen. He went behind the net, and a couple of guys went by him, and here he just throws it out in front and hit a Soviet defenseman. And Priestley, a goal scorer, right in the slot area, made no mistake. A great goal for Ken Priestley.
That defenseman that you refer to, number 7, is Malakoff. You see him trying to pick up Housley there. He was the defenseman victimized earlier in the game when Buffalo scored at that time a very big goal to get themselves back into it.
Yes, and I think when you look, he was the one also in the attacking zone that fielded that puck coming out. He was the one that didn't get it by Housley, so he'll be thinking about that one.
And the celebration was on, and the final score again, the Buffalo Sabres 6, Central Red Army 5 in overtime. Remember, college basketball excitement comes your way tomorrow on Sports Channel America. You'll see the sophomore combo of Kevin Barry and Derek Canada leaving Army into battle against Jasper Walker and the talented squad of St. Peter's. That action at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. And then on Wednesday, offensive gunner Steve Yzerman and the Detroit Red Wings will travel to Chicago to face off against the Blackhawks. That action at 8:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Central. Catch these two great matchups right here on Sports Channel America. I'm Jakes McDonald for Scotty Bowman and Gary Thorne saying so long until next time. You've been watching the Superpower Face-Off series on Sports Channel America, the network of the National Hockey League.